Bamise bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, Sanbonani, good morning. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you with us here on 702. I trust you are well this morning. The Clement Manyathela Show starts with the 702 open line. This is where you can share your thoughts on what we are discussing this morning on the open line. And don't we have a lot to discuss, my friends? Take your pick. Sisisi Tolashe appeared in Parliament yesterday. I mean, this woman really has no shame. She blames everybody else but herself. No accountability taken whatsoever. Listen to what she said when she was asked about the helper who was illegally moved from the Johannesburg or Cape Town home of the minister to the Eastern Cape, and she was forced to share her salary with the minister's daughter. You can see on the appointment letter of this woman that there is a division of salaries here. When money comes in, then some of that money has to go to a household account. Where in the regulations is this even allowed? And the minister wants us to believe, well, it wasn't me, it was my daughter, and that woman had an agreement with my daughter. Okay, what accountability? Have you called your daughter and said, hey, when's Zagalan? What's happening? Have you called your daughter and asked your daughter to pay back the money she was never entitled to? It's one thing to get paid and then you contribute towards whatever. It's another thing for that contribution to begin at the point your salary clocks in your account. That just simply doesn't make sense. Here's how the minister somehow separated herself from this entire crisis.
Chair, Ms. Tshwane was employed as a temporary food service aider under Regulation 57.2 of the Public Service Amendment Regulation. Chair, on this salary that was split in two, I can categorically state that Ms. Tshwane was employed by the department in the official residence in Cape Town. When it comes to the payments to the daughter, Chair, I have no knowledge of that because Ms. Tshwane's salary came straight from department to her bank account. Ms. Tshwane, Chair, got ill when she was appointed, and you got to realize that I was reported that she's unable to stay in Cape Town because of her state of health. She was then told that she had to be in Eastern Cape. It is when she was in the Eastern Cape stayed with the daughter that between the two of them, they had their own arrangement, which I was not aware of. I am still not aware of.
Hey, Bo, what do you mean you are still not aware of? This thing has been reported about since last week. Have you not called your daughter already? Does this woman think we're children? And she keeps referring to arrangement with their daughter. No, it's my daughter. That's your daughter. The same daughter that you gave a Chinese vehicle to that didn't belong to her. And now the poor daughter sold that Chinese vehicle and bought herself another car. You had to take that car from her to send it to Lutile House because you've been caught. And you're telling us that, oh, I didn't know about the arrangement. I still don't know about it. Why didn't you call your daughter last week when these revelations came out and say, hey, what's going on? Why did you take half the helper's salary? And there's no way the minister didn't know that the helper was in the Eastern Cape. That is not allowed by law. A food aid can only work at the minister's official residences. And Parliament didn't even ask the minister, why was this helper in the Eastern Cape to begin with? And still received a salary from the state when she wasn't placed at any of the official residences. As you can imagine, ANC members of parliament came out in full support of Sisisi Tolashe. Here's one. Her name is Kirileng Klong. She's an ANC MP. She basically sat there in parliament and said this story is like a rumor. The story of the helper and the money that was taken out, half of her salary to the daughter. She literally said, this is just a rumor. These are ANC members of parliament who decided we are going to close ranks because they don't care about accountability. They don't. They care about protecting each other as comrades. Listen to what she said, this woman, as the minister was being held accountable.
To relevant authorities. So my question to the minister, if there is if she's aware of any case that has been opened, because also this thing of the food aid chair, it has a little bit of politics, a lot of politics in it actually. We had some voice notes actually in community WhatsApps and political WhatsApps. They are circulating voice notes of Miss Lumka having a conversation with the food aider, actually persuading the food aider to take their matter serious and report it to relevant authority. So in this regard, Chair, it seems like the food aider is being forced to fight against the minister. So I want to check if the minister is aware of those circulating voice notes as well, so that if she's not aware of them, that this portfolio committee can be, then maybe that I can submit those voice recordings to this portfolio committee. So that, Chairperson, we must as well be able to close this matter of the food aid. We cannot continuously, Chairperson, be discussing rumors, Chair.
Hey.
I mean, if this matter was in front of the court of law, we could have said, yes, this matter is suitable can be discussed in this portfolio committee. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, some of these ANC MPs are such an embarrassment, I'm telling you. I don't care that Lumka Olifant is trying to convince a helper to do whatever. I don't really care about that. I care about what was the helper forced to do. First of all, I care about why did the helper work in the private residence of the minister, because that's not allowed by law. A food aid must be placed at the official residences. Why? The minister hasn't given us an answer to that. Number two, why was this food aid sharing a salary with the minister's daughter? I'm worried about that. That's not allowed in law. And the minister says, well, that was their own arrangement. Why didn't the minister call her daughter and say, I want you to pay this food aid back her money? Pay back the money. She doesn't tell us anything about the conversations she's had with her daughter except to just separate herself from what's happened. And what does the president do? Well, the president says he's not going to be rushed to act against her. Apparently, she's already presented her case before the president, and the president says, well, he's not going to be forced to act rashly here against this minister. Well, I mean, did you expect anything else from this president? Did you? When ANC MPs are busy protecting their comrade, do we really expect the president to act against her? No. But wait until some minister of the DA goes on an international trip and doesn't declare it to the president, and then suddenly he's a decisive president who can act quickly. This is all about protecting each other as comrades. And we've seen it happen before, even with the Nkandla debacle. We saw it, which is why the Constitutional Court even said to Parliament, you failed to hold the president accountable. The ANC abused its majority in Parliament, and we're going to find out tomorrow if that was the same case with the Phala matter. But the standard is so low in the African National Congress. For these members of Parliament to want to protect this minister, I mean, the very least they should have done is say to the minister, please speak to your daughter to pay back this money. Tell your daughter to pay back this money. They didn't even do that. They're okay with the minister evading accountability at that level. Let me know what your thoughts are on what Sisisi Tolashe said in Parliament yesterday. And then there's the story about the City of Johannesburg. Apparently it's seemingly bankrupt. Or is it? News 24 reports that the city doesn't have the cash to meet its financial obligations. So in a nutshell, the city is overspending while under collecting revenue. And it seems to be overstated So they seem to overstate how much revenue the city could possibly collect, which then makes the budget look healthier than it is. Now the finance minister has written to the Johannesburg mayor, Dada Morero, basically forbidding the city from fulfilling this agreement with Samu, which, if implemented, would result in wages rising by 10 billion rand over the next 2 years. The city owes its creditors 25 billion rand, and yet it's holding about 3.9 billion rand in cash. So Treasury is unhappy that the city wasn't honest about its finances. In fact, an adjustment budget that was passed was actually underfunded. So Treasury is effectively saying that budget you passed is not credible, which then brings us back to the issue of Samu. The city of Johannesburg surely cannot enter into a large multi-year salary commitment without a credible funding base. So what does the city do now about this 10 billion rand agreement? Because the minister is also threatening to withhold the Johannesburg Metro's equitable share installment for July if the mayor fails to scrap the wage offer. And the city desperately needs that equitable share from Treasury because they need to enhance service delivery, especially in this election year. And as you can understand, Samu is not taking this lying down. They're threatening to challenge the decision should Johannesburg, the city of Johannesburg, scrap the wage offer. In fact, they accuse Treasury of administrative overreach. What do you think is the best thing to do here? Does the city of Johannesburg walk away from that wage agreement? And what would be the consequences of that? I'd like to know your thoughts on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Another issue I really would like your thoughts on this morning is around News 24. So News 24 has been running a few stories about that textbook scandal, like great investigative reporting. They revealed in their investigation that Lighthouse Publishers, which was registered 3 days after the contract specifications were issued, got the tender, right? Well, one of the companies that got the tender. So the company is going to make about 300 million rand producing textbooks and learning and teaching support material. But this company was registered 3 days after the contract specifications were issued, which means something is fishy here. But now it looks like Media 24 may have taken part in this tender unsuccessfully. So News 24 ran articles not mentioning this. And I really think that this is an important information to mention. I did ask Adrian Basson, who's the editor-in-chief at News 24, whether this is true. Is it true that Media 24 took part in this tender unsuccessfully? And if it is true, why didn't News 24 declare that? Because I followed these stories so closely, and I don't remember News 24 declaring that their company took part in this tender unsuccessfully. We've invited him to come and clarify to us on the show this morning. He still hasn't responded. But I want to know from you, if that matters to you, at least it matters to me, I would like to know if you're going to be reporting about a company that somehow was registered after the tender specifications came up, and you are now portraying this company as maybe having been parachuted into this number of companies that are benefiting from this tender. I would like to know that you also tried to bid for the tender and you were unsuccessful, because that transparency is important in helping me as a reader decide, right? Decide for myself where I think the story is going. And if you are leaving that information out, I find that to be unethical. And I would really like to understand from News 24 why they did it that way, if indeed that's the case. So as soon as they're available, we'll bring them on the radio. So that's something else I'd like to get your thoughts on 011-883-0702. And of course, the issue of the City of Tshwane Deputy Mayor Eugene Modise, who has now been fined 2 months worth of his salary for failing to declare an interest in a company currently in business with the municipality. I mean, this decision has been slammed by opposition parties in the city, and rightly so. EWN is in fact reporting that the ANC, Action SA and EFF coalition used their majority in council to vote for this measure during a recent closed meeting. I don't get it. The company of the deputy mayor has received about 300 million rand or so, according to reports, in security tenders with the municipality. And this tender has been a major topic of discussion at the Madlanga Commission. And what the city does then is, we're just going to take 2 months of your salary. I think the MMCs take home about 50,000 Rand a month. So he's basically being docked, maybe something in the region of 100K. And his company gets to keep the multi-million Rand contract? That doesn't make sense to me. But then again, these are politics. Political parties that are in coalition will also do everything possible not to ruffle the feathers, because if you take action against this ANC chap, then you may be in trouble because the coalition may not hold anymore. But why would we justify something like this when we understand the level of corruption that's been revealed at the Madlanga Commission about what's happened in Tshwane? Why? Why are we so nonchalant and so easy, even in our accountability mechanisms, when it comes to people who failed to declare conflict of interest? We're not children. Like, no deputy mayor just forgets to declare that, this company that I'm linked to is somehow getting tenders in the city. No rational, sane person forgets to do that. That's a fundamental thing. And that's against the law. And the mayor wants us to believe, there's accountability because 2 months of his salary is going to be docked, and yet million rands were received. Let's talk on 011-883-0702. At 10 o'clock, we're going to do the Hanging Out feature. Today, I'm going to be hanging out with Maria Mloy. She's a cultural pioneer, publicist, Afrocentric designer, and DJ. She has been shaping the city's creative landscape since the late 90s. I mean, from co-founding the groundbreaking Black Rage Productions and Outrageous Records, which helped launch the careers of artists like Proverb and Reason, to building a celebrated Afrocentric accessories and fashion label, rocking the decks at some of Joburg's most vibrant events. I mean, her fingerprints are all over the city's cultural DNA, and I'm looking forward to getting to know her better between 10 and 11 o'clock. At 11, we do our Thursday dialogue, and today we're reflecting on Minister Sisisi Tolasha's appearance in Parliament. I'm going to bring in Somadoda Fikeni to tell us what his investigation has found. I'll bring in Rebecca Davis to tell us what the minister lied about in Parliament yesterday and what this committee should have asked her. And I'll bring in other actors as well to tell us where we are and what happens next. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Clement, good morning. There's a song I'd like to dedicate to the Minister of Social Development. It is by Tshwane and it's called Shame. Low down, dirty shame. Thank you.
Clement, good morning. Kutlano Kibla Park. Clement, I think all of these lads, these ministers that are caught red-handed, they are singing the same song as their leader, the Honorable President. I wasn't aware, I don't know, I'm shocked. Because it works for the president, so clearly they think it's going to work for them. I don't know. But can't wait for November. The elections are around the corner.
Hi, good morning, Clement. Johnny Kuruleni. Are you surprised what's going on with this minister? I'm not surprised. The ANC is a nest of criminals. Starting with Ramaphosa. Has he said anything about the minister? No. Why? It's part of his gang. You'll never do anything. We, the people, must do. It's time we kick the hell out of the ANC. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Clement and the team. Just a quick one, Clement. Why are you obsessed with ANC? Do you have an agenda with ANC, or is there something going on between you and ANC? Please make us understand, Clement, because every day you are into ANC. Thanks. Sam from Joburg.
My dear, ANC is part of the government. I have no issues with the ANC. I mean, I'm unhappy about what Action SA and the EFF and these parties in coalition in Tshwane have done with the deputy mayor. Does it mean I'm obsessed with them too? No, I'm obsessed about accountability, my friend. That's what I'm obsessed about. And I am a citizen of this country. If there is anything that's untoward as a taxpayer in this country, where I'm paying my money to the state, and that money is being misused, where people are being hired without the relevant qualifications, without experience, where the minister just brings in advisors who are advising her wrongly, I'm paying for that as a taxpayer. So you are okay if you're just going to chill and don't have issues with it. I'm not. I'm going to raise it. And it's about accountability. So this has got nothing to do with the African National Congress. This has got everything to do with Minister Sisisi Tolashe. That's what we've been talking about throughout. The first time I've ever mentioned the ANC is today, because yesterday it was the ANC in Parliament that chose they are going to defend her come hell or high waters. And I just think that is wrong. Whether you are Action SA, whether you are EFF, if you're going to use your presence in Parliament, which is a constitutional body that takes accountability of the executive seriously, and you want to use that institution to protect your comrades, we've lost it then. We've lost it. That's why the Constitutional Court has said before, what Parliament did was wrong. That is not a platform where you come and protect your chomies. That's a platform that holds the executive accountable, whether that executive is a member of your organization or not. Busa, you're calling us from Sky City. You want to talk about this issue in the Johannesburg CBD. Good morning.
Morning, Clement.
Tasha, go ahead.
Clement, yes, man. I want to talk about this thing of Minister Kodani and the City of Joburg. This thing is not started from now. The agreement is started from 2016. They are supposed to implement this thing from 2016. So now the minister is interfering with the issues of the City of Joburg. Whereas this thing, we are in grade 10, we are on grade 8. We are supposed to be uplifted according to the act to the grade 10. Like the executive mayors, they are on the grade 10, they are earning their grade. Us, as general workers, we are on the grade 8. So now the minister is interfering with this, whereas this thing started 2016 and Clement, like now, they already started implementing it on July. They give us one, like now, they give us 1.2 billion. You remember DAT this thing to the court and court throw it out of court. So I'm asking myself how is going to reverse this thing already has been implemented, and this thing is affecting our pension fund. Other people they already died. Others they out of the job. You see. I don't understand what the minister is trying to do now.
Yeah, it's going to be really complex to figure out how to move from here, Busa. Thank you for your call in Sky City.
Hey, Clement. City of Johannesburg needs to walk away from that agreement because they cannot afford it. It's not sustainable. But also, if the unions, they are also fair in understanding the finances of the city, they wouldn't also want to come back and then fight it. And knowing the unions, they're going to come back and engage in a strike, damage property and all of that. But if all the parties, the employer, the trade union and the employees were to understand the current status, I think it should be a joint decision not to go ahead with this agreement.
Hi, Clement. Ask people who are involved with the IDPs, who have attended public participation for the IDPs. It's not only City of Johannesburg that cook the numbers to overstate their budget or revenue so that they can get the budget passed. Most municipalities do that, and they get passed because the treasury doesn't stop them from doing that, because, and most of us layperson, there isn't much we can do. You cannot stop the IDP from being approved. It's just that it's a question of ticking the box so that we can continue with our lives and service delivery.
Yeah, it cannot be that it's a normal thing that happens in other metros and nothing is being done about it. I suppose the question, and we did try to get Treasury to join us, was when did they actually raise alarm? Because like that caller said, this is not something that's only being implemented now. This is something that happened a while back. So when did they raise alarm, and why did they have to wait so late to flag this? If at all, this is the only time they're seriously flagging it. It's 9:32. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines, and when we come back, more of your calls and WhatsApps. Sfiso, Member of Parliament Fadil Adams, his family is unhappy about how he was arrested.
That's right, Clement. They say that it is unfair. Adams was arrested in Cape Town earlier this week for allegedly interfering with the murder case of ANC councillor Sindiso Makaka. The National Coloured Congress leader was transported by police from the Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal, and he's expected to appear in the Pinetown Magistrates Court this morning. 4 major law firms are continuing with their case in the Pretoria High Court, challenging the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Legal Sector Code. A full bench of the court is currently hearing the application to review the codes gazetted by Trade and Industry Minister Parks Dau in 2024. The firms say the minister failed to properly consider important evidence before proclaiming the codes, rendering the decision irrational and unlawful. And the Johannesburg Metro Police Department will soon be under the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. The focus is expected to be on possible procurement irregularities and police corruption within JMPD. The Commission has already dealt with tender fraud in the Tshwane and Ekurhuleni's Metro Police Departments. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on several routes around the Baklu interchange, do expect about a 20-minute hold-up. The N1 North out of Rivonia Road is heavily backed up, along with the N3 North from the Marlborough Drive exit, as well as if you're heading towards Midrand via the N1 North, do expect delays from the Baklu turn-off towards Ellendale Road. While in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is just as you approach Rigel Avenue. That's due to an accident. Delays coming out of John Forster Drive. There's also queuing traffic reported along the N3 North. This is in the Germiston area approaching Van Buren Road. That's due to roadworks along that route. Please be on the lookout there and remain patient. We'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
We're asking the question whether South Africa is xenophobic. Eugene, you've called in from Kempton Park. You from the Congo DRC.
South Africa is not. I've been blessed in South Africa. I work for the logistics company. You need to comply on the law. When you reach other countries, they will make you sign the law at the airports or in the border. Arrest those who are not following the rules of South Africa. And they must be deported. But to say South Africa is xenophobic, really I reject. I don't agree with
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's a home for dream creators, operators, and change makers. In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi to unite the whole of Joburg in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk Babi Zabonke. So on Sunday, the 26th of July, we're going on a walk through the iconic Johannesburg CBD, and we want you to join us and be part of something special. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for our Jozi. Babi Zabonke. More on primemediaplus.com.
At Specsavers, we're committed to offering affordable and professional eye care. That's why we're offering 1,500 Rand worth of savings with our winter promotion. Get a free frame up to the value of 1,500 Rand, or use the 1,500 Rand on one of our leading vision enhancements, like Climate Eyes, which automatically adapts to changing light. To qualify, simply purchase a comprehensive eye examination and prescription frame and lenses. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
New from the House of Citroën.
Ah, so stylish.
470-litre boot space. I need it.
Keyless entry, so chic.
Cruise control. Oh, bonjour.
4-year or 60,000 kilometer service plan? Oui.
The stylish, all-new Citroën Basalt is here. You want a piece of it. Starting from 354,900 Rand. Register now for limited deal assist of up to 40,000 Rand. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now. Save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. And my goodness, so much to discuss this morning. Sisisi Tolasha's appearance in Parliament yesterday, the financial mess that the city of Johannesburg finds itself in, and they're now in this quagmire because do they walk away from this 10 billion rand wage deal or not? Samu is not going to take that lying down. But Treasury, the finance minister is effectively saying, if you don't do that, then there are going to be issues. I'm going to withhold, right, your share installment, the Metro's equitable share installment for July, if the city fails to scrap the wage offer. What do you think the city needs to do here? Do they walk away from that deal? I've also asked you about the issue of News 24 and the textbook scandal that they've investigated. What they may have failed to tell us is that Media 24 also bid for that tender and they were unsuccessful. I think it's crucial information to include to all of us that are following the great investigative report News 24 was doing. It's important to include from the word go that Media 24 also did take part in the tender unsuccessfully. That's just what transparency is all about. And I've been asking you if that information, you care about it at all. The city of Tshwane, the deputy mayor there, Eugene Modise, has now been fined 2 months' worth of his salary for failing to declare an interest in a company currently in business with the municipality. That company has not been stopped from doing business with the city. We are just told that, well, this MMC is going to be docked 2 months' salary. I just think that's not enough. Because I bet you the deputy mayor didn't just forget to declare conflict of interest. That's not how it works. He knows. And in fact, he must choose. Do I want to run a business where I do business with the city, or do I want to be in the city? You can't do both. Because if you're in the city and your own company is busy receiving tenders from the city, that's a conflict of interest. And to just dock 2 months of a salary, and we are told that this is a city that cares about corruption, the city that cares about ethical conduct, that's a slip on the wrist. What do you think? Let's go to your calls on 011-883-0702. Sindile in Kagiso, what do you want to say about the Social Development Minister?
Yes, Clement, but on a lighter note, I'll say to all Amakosi, I am a Pagania Chavli. Well done, Kosi. Well done, Kosi. You've done a good job.
Well done to them.
Yeah. Listen, Clement, you know, I heard you saying you're going to speak to Somato. I was disappointed with this report. I think it exonerates the minister. In his report, he says the minister needs to hold whoever accountable, but the minister needs to be held accountable as well, herself, because of what she has done. And secondly, the chairperson, I don't know, she's from the DA, I believe, but she was also defending indicators yesterday, if you were listening to that. Yeah. She was so defensive. She was...
And she's got nothing to lose, Cindy. I get it with the ANC MPs, because, they were probably just told, go protect the minister. I mean, she's a DA member of parliament.
She's taking the GNU thing literally so. She's running with it. I'm telling you, Clement, I was so disappointed. And the worst part of it all, this person is a minister. She is saying the minister will account for her cars in the ethics committee of the ANC. Up. Because the minister is accountable to South Africa. Whatever she does,
it.
As a person of the ANC, it's an interest to us as citizens of this country. She has to be accountable. If it was Upsoti in the ANC, that means she might be doing Upsoti in the country.
Also, Cindy, remember when the Higher Education Minister, Nobuhle Nkabane, appeared before the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education, the Ethics Committee were also still investigating her. But that work in that committee continued because these are separate processes. Any committee has a responsibility to do its work. Whether the Hawks are investigating, whether ethics committee is investigating, or any other institution for that matter, any committee has a responsibility to hold the executive accountable.
Exactly. So it was a joke. She couldn't even, the chairperson, I don't know how did they choose her, because maybe the ANC chose her because they know what her weak point. She was unable to even articulate things, smaller things. She was listening to the minister. Actually, the minister was telling her what to do and what she's going to do.
for her to be held accountable. No,
Yeah.
let me wait for my ethics committee to
Yeah,
decide
Cindy,
first.
listen at 11 o'clock when we do the Thursday dialogue, because I'm going to bring back
Yeah.
that committee chair, because I'm going to
definitely.
bring in the reporter from Daily Maverick who investigated this, and I want to tell the committee chair what she should have asked the minister. And I want to ask the committee chair, why were you so soft on the minister? So listen to the Thursday dialogue at 11 o'clock, and you'll hear the critical questions that this committee should have asked, because clearly they were not prepared for the minister. Because had they prepared, they would have known what to ask. They would have known that. George, you are in Sandton. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. Great show, mate. Really,
Thank you.
really impressed with the show this morning. Clement, I just find it difficult to understand with the unions, and I think the unions need to actually be investigated and searched. Like, how do you defend a pay increase when not a single municipality has had, a minimum of 10% improvement? Like, what have the improvements been? And how do you get that accountability with the unions alone? Let alone we know what the issues are with the government and their accountability and their beautiful way of defending each other. So I'd just like to know your thoughts on the unions and how that happens.
Well, in fact, George, let me actually bring the unions to come and answer that question. How about that, George? Thank you for that question in Sandton. Mpho Tladinyane is the provincial secretary for Samu, joining us on the line. Mpho, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks, Clement. And maybe we must start by clarifying the issue that we are not talking about, to George especially, that we're not talking about salary increase here. Maybe we need to clarify this point further, to indicate that, Clement, municipalities are categorized.
Mm-hmm.
And that particular categorization is being done by COGTA.
Mm-hmm.
As we speak now, currently, Johannesburg is classified as a Category 10 municipality. Now, what would have happened is that when Johannesburg was upgraded, for example, or categorized as Category 10 municipality, it then says that even the salary scales that are being used will then have to be upgraded. You see, a Category 8 municipality will not pay salaries including that of councillors, that are equivalent to a Category 10 municipality. Now, in this case, in Johannesburg, what would have happened is that when they then say you are a Category 10, they then change the salary scales of councillors, they change the salary scales of senior managers at that particular level.
Okay.
Then, deliberately or not, they then forgot to adjust the salary scales of lower level employees. Now, this particular matter has been going on for more than 15 years. Now, in 2015, through the intervention of the provincial government, we then started having discussions with the City of Johannesburg, up until there was what we call a politically facilitated agreement that said, indeed, workers were not upgraded in line with Category 10. So that should then be the premise. We are not talking about salary increase.
I got you. Yeah, but Mpho, the reality here is this, right? And I get you. At Samu, you are trying to represent your workers. You're trying to get them to have salaries that are in line with the category of the municipality. But the reality here is Johannesburg may be Category 10, but does it have the budget of Category 10, or does it have the budget of Category 8? Because what Treasury is saying is they just don't have the money to even agree to that 10 billion rand agreement that they agreed with you on.
I think what Treasury is looking at, they're looking at it from a wrong point. Let's agree that the starting point is that government has agreed that indeed they owe these particular workers. Let's start from there. And you know that there is a decided case in the Eastern Cape that says that if government has accepted that indeed it owes somebody, it must then do good and pay that particular person. What we then had to look at here is that once you then agree that indeed we were supposed to pay these particular people and we did not pay them, then how then do we pay these particular people? That is why we then acknowledge the fact that the city might not necessarily be having the entire 10 billion at the same time. We then agreed to say, No. Let's agree. The city must then look at its own finances and what is it that it can afford over a period of time. We then came to an agreement that indeed you will not implement it at once. Let's agree that we'll then pay it over a period of years.
Well, they
that
can't
particular
even afford it in that way, Mpho, because Treasury says the city owes creditors 25 billion rand. Yes, yet it's just holding about 3.9 billion rand in cash. So the city itself has not been honest about its finances. It passed an adjustment budget that was underfunded.
No, Clement. You see, I'm speaking from a privileged point because I was in court when the DA took the city of Johannesburg and Samu to court, sometime towards the end of the end of April, and the facts that were then put before court. Hence, then Samu won that particular matter in court. You can't just blanketly say that you don't have money now, or that you don't have the 10.5 billion. We agreed to say you don't have the 10 billion. But can we look at a number of years? Can you spread it over a period of years? Look at your books. And at that particular time, we then even agreed to appoint a facilitator or a mediator who will then be able to say, this is actually what the city can afford. This is what... And we agreed, to, even though our members had waited for a very long time.
I hear you. Mpho, just lastly, because I'm running out of time. I think we got that point. So quickly then, what happens if the city walks back on this deal? Because they are in the quagmire now. Because Treasury says if you don't walk away from this wage deal, then we are not going to give you your equitable share, which the city actually needs, especially in this election year. What are you going to do as Samu if they try to walk away from this deal or change it in some way?
Not remember, we have an agreement. And the only way that you can then be able to change the terms of the agreement or change the agreement itself is when you go to court and ask court to set that particular agreement aside. But Treasury was aware that we were going to court by the end of April with the DA. But Treasury chose not to be part of that particular because whatever that they are advancing now, they should advance to court to say this is actually what is going to happen.
Okay. And why are they acting now? I'm hoping we can have Treasury at some point on the show once they've met with the mayor of Johannesburg. Mpho, let me thank you for making time for us, brother. Mpho Tladinyane is the provincial secretary for Samu.
Your voice, your station, your open line. Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela on 702.
Clement, if employees in Joburg phone you, ask them what is your job description and ask him or her what do they do the whole day. Because with me, I was working for a financial institution. I could tell you when I walked in at 6:20 until 3:30 what I've done for the whole day. That's Veronica from Spray2, because they just want increases. But if you can ask the person, what do you do? What is your job description? What is your day like? Because we don't know what these people are doing. Thank you.
Hi, Clement. This issue of Joburg City and the hiking of the salaries, it's actually deeper than you guys think, because I'm an architect, and since December, let me tell you, the city does not have a chief examiner to approve any of the city's plans. They tried to mediate, to remedy the process by adding amateur chief examiners who are unable to approve any of the city's building plans. And as it stands, the city right now does not have a chief examiner. Building plan approvals are standing still since December. So the issue is much deeper and bigger.
Good morning, Clement. This whole debacle in the city of Johannesburg, number one, the unions, these so-called unions, are actually members of COSATU. COSATU is a partner of the ANC. ANC is in charge of Johannesburg. Now, they're going to bankrupt Johannesburg over a wage deal. And on top of that, it's all this maladministration, lack of services. Who suffers? The taxpayer at the end of the day. Why don't they just come to some sort of agreement, get the finances of Joburg in line, then do all the shenanigans of their wage increases? Because it's becoming ridiculous. Unions say this, but yet they're in bed with the ANC. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Eddie from Centurion.
Clement, I hear the argument that the unions are making, but we also have to apply logic. Whether I'm category 10, 8, 9, if there's no money, there's no money.
Yes.
And not all unions, but some unions really push things that don't make sense. And they say it's in the best interest of the employees and sometimes end up costing the employees. It almost feels like they want to fight as hard as they can to prove to the employees that they can fight. You know what I mean? Years ago, we had to let go of our company because we tried to negotiate with the unions to show them that we can't afford to pay minimum wage at the time. But the unions were so insistent on forcing us that we ended up canceling, like literally submitting a notice to end the contract with a contractor, because with the money that we were getting, we couldn't sustainably run the business and pay the workers minimum wage. And this is a known fact. You can even apply for an exemption at the Department of Labor, but they will fight you. Yo, Clement. We need to apply logic, guys. We sympathize with the workers, but let's apply logic.
And that's why. And look, I get it. Samu is also answerable to its members, right? Samu is answerable to its members. They are going to do everything that is in the interest of their workers. Whether that's going to affect negatively the financial position of the city is none of their business. But the city has a responsibility as well. You cannot overstate your projections. You can't do that. And then you enter into wage agreements that you know, based on your current finances, you're unable to afford. So there's a responsibility here that the city has. Of course, unions are always going to push you over the line because they are just pushing and doing what's in the best interest of their workers. Mpo, you are calling us from Newlands. You want to talk about the issue in Tshwane. Good morning.
Yes, I wanted to talk about the issue in Tshwane, but listening to my Dito trying to explain his way out of this one, Clement, I was like, come on. If you don't mind, Clement, we live in Joburg. We see Joburg every day. And we can all agree as residents, including the people working for the state, because they live in Joburg. It is a lived experience for everybody. The potholes, the refuse. If we continue in this trajectory, we're going to end up being the next Mfuleni if we are not careful, because we are watching our city go down in real life. We are watching it go down. And the people that are working, that lady was very correct to say, if you ask what are your responsibilities, what do you do from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock when you get to work, I don't think a lot of them will be able to tell you. They'll tell you what their job description is, but they will not tell you what they do the whole day. We see it. Holes are left open for months, for years. Clement, where I live in Newlands, just down the road, there's a hole where a pipe had burst. It's been 3 years. They fixed the road, but the hole next to the road has been left like that.
Okay.
It's open.
And about Tshwane, what did you want to say?
Ole, not Tshwane, Clement, the conflict of interest. He knows where his comrades are going to protect him. He did it on purpose. He didn't forget. He knew very well, I'm going to do this. Everybody's doing it. So I can continue doing it. I can get away with it. Let's all... sorry, Clement.
Sorry, your line is cutting there, in Newlands. But I think we got the point you're making. I think the point you're making is the politicians know that they are not allowed to do business with the state. Right, and he did it because he knew that he would be protected. Let's wrap up with these WhatsApp voice notes on Sisisi Tolash.
Remember what Mbalula said when Zuma was leaving the ANC. He said ANC went down with Zuma defending him, making up stories of water pool in the swimming pool, or fire pool, man. So we know the ANC, they are gonna defend this lady. That's what they do. And it's good that they defend her because they keep scoring own goals. We know what the kind of people they are, the ANC. And we are going to vote them out.
Good morning, Clement. You know what? When it comes to Sisisi Tolashe, I mean, I've come not to expect anything from the president. I mean, there's one word to describe this. Accountability. Or lack thereof in the ANC. So they covered for him, Clement, when it came to Palapala. They covered for him. He owes all these people these favors. As I always say, if you're from the DA or from any other party, you didn't cover anything for him. He doesn't care. He will act. But he cannot act on these people because they owe him. You know, he owes them. From when he was in trouble, they covered for him. That lady, I keep forgetting her name, who said skeletonianas in everyone. That's all this is.
Oh, that was Batabile Dlamini. And then the president mustn't claim that he's different. You know, because for me, that's the thing, right? I'm okay with a politician who's owning it. Like, you know, the thing with the former president, Jacob Zuma, was you know where to place him. He's very clear. I'm going to protect this person. That's it. Whereas President Cyril Ramaphosa wants to tell South Africans that he's different. He's a different politician. He cares about ethical conduct. He cares about ethical leadership. And yet his actions are saying something completely different. You cannot care about accountability and ethical conduct. And when there are people in your cabinet who are doing that, you have to think about the politics. So now you're scared to act because this is going to mess you up in the party. It's going to tinker the balance of forces. Then you are not different. You're not different from any other leader of the ANC. And yet he came in saying he's a different candidate. Then that's a lie. Because if you care about ethical leadership, if you care about accountability, you are going to make decisions that are in the best interest of this country. Whether that is disastrous for you politically or not, that's a separate thing. Because you know that what is wrong and must be acted on. And there must be accountability mechanisms. It's 2 minutes before 10.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, my name is Linda. I'm from Bel-Air's Park. I'm a 702 lander, big fan of all the shows, and I'm definitely listening today, and I'll definitely be listening tomorrow.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
In the news this week, fuel prices are rising yet again, and there is some relief for ShopRite shoppers. With ShopRite's bulk buying power, they're able to secure stock long before price increases, which means that they can keep their prices lower for much longer. So you can save on deals like Weet-Bix 900 grams for a low $52.99 and Ray Coffee 750 grams or 800 gram refill for only R129.99 each. Valid until Sunday, the 10th of May. Lower prices you can trust always.
Time. When you're a kid, it moves slower than a sloth trying to get through airport security. There is just so much of it. Skip forward a few years to your 20s. Time is still your friend. It says have some balance. Go party and have fun. Then your 30s hit. And time suddenly steps on the accelerator like it's trying to catch a traffic light before it goes red. 40s. Now time is moving faster than your 10-year-old on a sugar high. 50. You're desperately trying to save as much as you can, but time is moving so fast. And all you can think is, where did all the time go? That's why after 50 years of investing, we've learned that time is the greatest gift of all. And the good news is, if you invest early, time gives you money. And then money gives you more time for some much-deserved you time. Now, isn't that a compelling enough reason to invest? Ellen Gray. Long-term investing. Ellen Gray is an authorized FSP.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The family of arrested Member of Parliament Fadil Adams have criticised the police on how his arrest was handled. Adams was arrested in Cape Town earlier this week for allegedly interfering with the murder case of ANC councillor Sindiso Magwenya. He's expected to appear in the Pinetown Magistrates Court today on charges of fraud and defeating the ends of justice. The National Coloured Congress leader was transported by police from the Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal, but Adams' wife says it's unfair that police kept details of the journey from the family and his attorney.
I just want to see my husband. Is that too much to ask? He's a South African citizen. We have rights, all of us. This is ridiculous. It's like a witch hunt, man.
She says their children have not been able to rest.
I'm exhausted. I just want to see him if he's okay, so that I can just put the children at ease also as well, because he is a family man.
Four major law firms are continuing with their case in the Pretoria High Court, challenging the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Legal Sector Code. A full bench of the court is currently hearing the application to review the codes gazetted by Trade and Industry Minister Parks Tau in 2024. The firms say the minister failed to properly consider important evidence before proclaiming the codes, rendering the decision irrational and unlawful. Demakatso Leshoro has more.
Central to the case is that the framework is fundamentally misconceived, focusing too narrowly on individual legal practitioners rather than the broader legal services sector, while also overlooking how law firms actually operate. The applicants Denise, formerly Norton Rose Fulbright, Bowman's, Weber Wenzel and Waxman's attorneys say measures aimed at transformation such as tracking spending on black advocates are overly simplistic and fail to account for the realities of client control and varying fee structures within the profession. They warn that instead of advancing transformation, the code risks undermining BE in the profession. The disconnect, they claim, shows the decision does not meet constitutional standards of legality and rationality, despite government's position that the codes advance equality in line with Section 9 of the Constitution. Demakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
The Johannesburg Metro Police Department will soon be under the spotlights at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. The focus is expected to be on the possible procurement irregularities and police corruption within the JMPD. The Commission has already dealt with tender fraud in the Tshwane and Ekurhulenis Metro Police Departments. Tshwane has more.
The terms of reference of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry stipulate that all three Metro Police Departments in Gauteng be thoroughly scrutinized. The investigation examines whether criminal syndicates, including but not limited to drug cartels, have infiltrated these departments. The Commission's first interim report found that EMPD top cop Julius Mkhwanazi has a case to answer, while TMPD Deputy Commissioner Umashi Dlamini was recently placed on suspension. The Commission's spokesperson Jeremy Michaels says the JMPD is next.
JMPD is an area that we haven't touched on formally yet in the proceedings, and we will be getting there. And there are quite a number of other areas of the terms of reference that the Commission must still hear, and that evidence must still be led.
The Commission still needs to look into the judiciary, the NPA and the State Security Agency. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And fears of criminality are keeping some Gqeberha residents in their flooded homes despite evacuation warnings. Heavy rains continued overnight with emergency teams moving people to safety, but others are worried criminals could break into their homes. Mongezi Koko reports from the Eastern Cape.
The province remains under an orange level 8 warning for disruptive rain, with continued downpours raising the risk of further flooding and danger to life. In Walmer, where evacuations took place overnight, community leaders say some residents are reluctant to leave their homes, worried they may return to find their belongings gone. Community leader in Walmer, Luyolo Magwabe.
There's crime in Walmer, high crime, unemployment, which then creates this crime that is happening. So people are fearless as a result of that. People are fearless to leave their homes. Some would rather sleep at home even though there are issues of this nature.
Yesterday, hundreds of displaced residents in Missionvale lined up for food, blankets and basic supplies as cold and wet conditions continue to take a toll. Authorities are urging residents to prioritize their safety as disaster management teams remain on high alert across the province. Monke Ziko, Eyewitness News, Gqeberha.
Meanwhile, in the Western Cape, the Guardian Route Disaster Management says evacuation orders remain in place. The management's head, Gerard Otto, says at least 450 people have been evacuated.
We've got about 450 people that is housed in halls at this point. Most of them in the Knysna area, though, 300, and the Pito, there's about 78 people, and Oudtshoorn, 79.
Gold is trading at $4,741.76 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 22.25 to the pound, 19.23 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $100.89 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on Sunning Hill along the N1 North. This is between Rivernia Road and the Baklu interchange. There's also queuing traffic along the N1 North towards Midrand just as you approach Allendale Road. While traveling in Bedford View, queuing traffic along the N12 and the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 14 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The family of arrested Member of Parliament Fadil Adams has criticised the police on how his arrest was handled.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela on 702. Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856, 92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 10 o'clock. Sanbonani, good morning. Bonjour. Welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show on this beautiful, is it still cold outside? Cold Thursday morning. It was very cold early this morning for some of us who tried to go out for runs. I hope you're keeping warm out there. Remember, at 11 o'clock, we are going to have a conversation about Sisisi Tolashe's appearance in Parliament yesterday. That's the Minister of Social Development. She appeared in Parliament yesterday. I honestly think the members of Parliament there were not ready. They were not properly prepared to actually ask her the difficult questions. When you have someone like that who has gone from scandal to scandal, you have to take time reading the documents, reading the investigative reports. In fact, what I normally do when I do interviews about something, I call even the investigative reporters who've worked on the stories. I'll call ministers or members of parliament to understand what the legislation says, because you want to be ready before the interview. And I just feel like parliament failed to do that basic work, because there are certain questions they should have asked the minister that they failed to ask. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in the chair of that committee, because I wanted to tell us, why were you soft on the minister? I want to bring in the investigative reporter at Daily Maverick, Rebecca Davis, because I want Rebecca Davis to tell the chair of the committee and you what the minister lied about yesterday when she appeared before the committee. We're going to bring in the Public Service Commission as well, because they have investigated this matter and they've come up with some recommendations in as far as appointments to the minister's office are concerned. So they're going to join us as well. We may bring in Lumka Olifant as well, because her name was thrown in yesterday at some point. So don't miss that conversation at 11 o'clock on our Thursday dialogue. But right now, we start with our Hanging Out feature.
Hanging Out with Clement on 702. Let's walk the talk.
So, on our Hanging Out feature this morning, I'm hanging out with Maria Mloy. She's a cultural pioneer. She is a publicist, an Afrocentric designer. By the way, she brought in some gifts here. So you're going to be seeing me a lot in some Maria Mloy clothes over the next couple of days. But she does so much. She's also a DJ. She has been shaping the city's creative landscape since the 90s, from co-founding the groundbreaking Black Rage Productions and Outrageous Records, which, by the way, helped launch careers of artists like Proverb and Reason, to building a celebrated Afrocentric accessories and fashion label, to rocking the decks at some of Johannesburg's most vibrant events. I mean, her fingerprints are all over the city's cultural DNA, and I'm happy that we're going to get to know her better this morning. If you want to join this conversation, you can call us on 011-883-0702. Send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Maria, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you for having me, and thank you for that intro. That's so beautiful. And walking into these offices and seeing my face on a huge poster, I mean, I feel very famous and important. Thank you. I know there's such important things to discuss, hectic stuff, but here I am.
You are an important person to sit across. You know, I said to a friend of mine yesterday, I was telling him that I'm going to have you on the show, and the first thing he says to me is, you know, every time I look at Maria, she feels South African. Like, she is the epitome of what a South African is. And I want us to begin there because you were born in, was it in the UK?
I was born in England. My father was an Englishman.
Yeah?
And
Mom was Mosotho?
Yes. So I was born in the UK whilst they were living in Sudan. So I went to England to give birth to me. And of course, my family was there and we had a home there. And then no. So I was born in England, then we went to Nigeria, then we went to Sudan.
Oh, how
then
long
we came
did you...
back to England, then we went to Mozambique, then we came to Lesotho when I was 10, and then when I was 12, I came to school here in 1989, and this is where I've been ever since. So yes, I think I identify with like all of those, you know, Lesotho, England, South Africa. Those are my homes. I think nowadays you can have multiple identities and multiple homes,
absolutely.
And people are cool with that. But hey, I'm a Josie girl.
Yeah, you are.
Maybe I should run for Josie Mayor, culture mayor. I would like to be a culture mayor, a mayor of the night, a mayor of the streets.
Yeah, that would work. But tell me about what you wanted to do, because I mean, when you look at what you studied, it's not a surprise that you ended up where you ended up.
Yes.
But is that what you've always wanted to do? Like, was journalism a thing, or
Absolutely.
You've always been interested in like culture and, you know, arts and creative space, music?
I was always interested in all of it.
Yeah.
So if people remembered me at boarding school, I couldn't wait for the Mail and Guardian to come out. I idolized those writers.
Wow.
And I couldn't wait to like go to bed and listen to 702 on my Walkman.
Wow.
You know, because it was 1990, the early 90s, so you can imagine what was happening in South Africa. And I thought I wanted to be a political reporter, you know, study journalism and go into politics. But at the same time, totally into music, totally into fashion magazines, into music magazines, listening to Metro FM, Bob Mabena, Glenn Lewis, Shadow Twala. I was totally, that was also what excited me. And then when I'd go home on holidays, I'd listen to the BBC. So anyone who knows me since I was a little girl and at university knows I'm exactly the same. When I got to university, I studied journalism and politics and 2 years of history, which was straight up my street. But I was writing for the student newspaper, and I was at the student radio at Rhodes University, actually same year as Stephen Krutas.
Yes.
So we come out of the same year. So very eventful times and interesting times. So I did write about campus politics, but I also covered campus music and campus poetry and fashion issues and issues around hair. And then I met Kutlwano Skosana and Dino, and they said, we're going to Joburg. We want to start a media company, something like Vibe Magazine, The Source Magazine. They were like, you know, South African culture is amazing. Kwaito was happening. We had our own local hip-hop, fashion, music, but there was no media that covered that. We take it kind of for granted today because everything's aimed at the youth.
Yeah.
But back when we were 18, 19, 20, nothing was aimed at us. No one really thought we were a market. And we're like, we want to take our journalism skills and be something like what Drum Magazine was back in the 60s and 50s. We want to do that now about Kwaito culture.
I mean, when you look at the Black Rage Productions, when was it, 1995 when you guys founded it?
Yes, 95.
I mean, that was such a seminal moment. What do you think was the significance of just this media company in Johannesburg's urban culture scene? Like, what kind of difference did it make in your view?
I think it made such a big difference, and we were all about, we want to make something for us, by us, you know? We want to make these products, but we also want to hire people, young photographers, young writers, young filmmakers, young directors, young rappers, you know? We started out we started out actually working at Channel O, helping the formation of Channel O. So that was our in to becoming scriptwriters. And when Bongani said in the morning he knows me since then, it's because I was there in his audition.
He auditioned?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Him,
So
Tim
kinda
Howard,
he's a kid
Tumisho.
star. He's a child star.
So many big people were in that audition. When we were looking there, because we were helping a company called Pam Dever Harris, who came up with Channel O under the leadership actually of Zandine Zalo, who I also used to listen to on 702 when I was a little girl. So
which little girls listen to 702? Like, that's so interesting.
Okay, well, I was 18, 19. I thought that's little 15, 16, that was what I was into.
I mean, a lot of the 18, 17-year-olds then, I don't think they were listening to like talk radio, because I think only now, over the last couple of years, people who are more teenagers are sort of like coming to talk radio.
Of course, it's like a
trying to
reality
make
of show then. So-and-so's released, so-and-so's jail, there's been a bombing here, there's a hostel. Like, you have to be aware of that. At least me and my friends were.
Yeah.
So it was important because it didn't exist. So we had Basic, which actually became like where we met Azza as a presenter, and Bianca and DJ Bionic. So people saw these small people going into SABC and pitching a show, and I think it also gave people a sense like, we can also be young TV producers. We went SABC, we made a show called Basic, then we made a show called Street Journal, which is where Scoop Makatini came out of, and people thought that was revolutionary because he was speaking closer. It was such a cool show in the way it looked. And then we also started a record label, and that was seminal also because it was the first hip-hop label. There had been hip-hop songs, but we had a label of like a number of artists. And with groups like H2O, discovered them on YFM. And H2O's big hit was in Vernac, which was different at the time, and it paid tribute to people in our circles, which is like Stone Cherry, Magents, Kabzela. That song paid tribute to that movement of the time. So we were part of the movement in media covering culture, and there was a lot of people of the same headspace as us because apartheid had just ended, and we were young and we were free, and we could make whatever music, poetry or fashion or music or nightclubs or open mic sessions. We just had Alive with Possibility was that life.
And speaking of music, part of getting to know you is getting to know you through the music you listen to. Tell me about Straight Lendaba by Brenda Fassie. Why is it special to you?
I just think, I worked on a project last year. It was Spotify Glow, paying tribute to Brenda Fassie. And we had all people come speak about her, like Blondie and Yvonne and Chico and the late Melvin Matthews, who wrote Weekend Special and died a few weeks ago. And they came in and they spoke about Brenda. And we had an exhibition outside that I also curated. And it was important to use black creatives also who had written about her and taken photos of her. And I think ever since I've been a journalist, I started out as a journalist at Mail and Guardian, and she was one of my first interviews. And also on our own website, rage.co.za, we would frequently mention her. Yeah. And she was so special because to all of us, she was everywhere. So what I love about her is if you say the word Brenda Fassie, someone's going to have a crazy story. It doesn't mean if you're at dinner with someone or a politician or you talk to a musician or you just talk to a producer, everybody has a story about Brenda because she was everywhere. Yeah. And when I look at that, she gave us an album nearly every year of her life from 1983 till the year she died. And I don't know even if Rihanna could do that or like she's incomparable in what she influenced. And to me, she influenced Afropop, she influenced bubblegum. And with this song, it was a house kind of song, and I think she was a precursor actually to the Kwaito movement with this song. Oh. And every time I play a set, I tend to always play it. Hola, casa.
Or is it in bed? Baba, 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 baba. Hola, bitch.
Next. Come in. I mean, I was saying to you off air, Maria, to be an artist like Brenda Fassie, I mean, this song is very old and we can sing along to it and jam to it. Like, what an artist.
I mean, it's old because it's from what? Early 90s. But then there's stuff from the early 80s. And we still love those songs.
To that. Yeah.
What a legend in the true sense of the word. Because people call everyone legends nowadays, but that is a legend. And pioneering not in the music, but in just being the woman she was and the queer woman she was. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, you're a cultural legend.
No. Maybe I've just been on the streets a long time, but I'll take it.
That's what legendary is about. It includes having been in that sector or that industry for a while.
And also in it, hopefully, because it's cool for people to talk what you did, but it's also good to keep doing stuff.
Absolutely.
And keep learning new things.
Absolutely. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. Your WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. I'm hanging out with Maria Mloy this morning on our Hanging Out feature.
Oh man, it is so cool to hear Maria Mloy's story. I remember first meeting her, and she and her colleagues had started a production company. They were students fresh out of Rhodes, and it was called Black Rage, and they were the script writers for the initial Channel O crew. And there were these young minds. They were sharp, they were witty, they were principled, and they were just full of hope. Already some of us who are slightly older were becoming jaded, but they really just sort of opened that world in terms of possibility. The black child could be anything they chose to be. And that's what she has consistently represented over so many years. Now, of course, a publicist par excellence. I mean, if you are in entertainment and Maria Mloy is not representing you, you're not doing it right, are you?
No, you're not.
Oh, no. There are a couple of us, which is great, There's publicists I look up to, and we all advise each other and know each other, but that is an amazing message. Thank you, Bongani.
Junior on Twitter says, Clement, please can you ask Maria how she felt about the Joe Nina song? We used to sing that in the 90s. Which one is that?
Ding Dong.
Is it the Ding Dong one?
Ding Dong, Maria Podesta.
Yeah.
How do I feel? I love that song.
Yeah.
And I have a very funny story about that. Because on campus, that was my nickname because it came out in 93 and I got to campus 94. So it was a big hit by then. But then I called myself that on Twitter. And then young people started thinking I was Maria Podesta of the song. And I'm like, it's not me. And then this year I had my 50th birthday party.
Yeah.
And I had it all. I had a rooftop in Braamfontein. I curated a DJ list that represented all of our Joburg beloved life. So I had Miss Party and Rosie Parade representing the new school, but the party sort of started with DJ Bionic, who had a venue in Lee Club called Lee Club in the 90s. So he's a hip-hop pioneer. We wouldn't have the hip-hop scene we have without him. Then there was DJ Ken Zero, of course, like such a important building block of South African culture. And then Admiral and Jasid of the days of Tando in Yeovil. And I also had Glenn Lewis, needs no introduction. and DJ Cleo. And then my surprise act was Tebe. Okay?
Oh,
so all
Tebe.
200 of us were having an amazing time, and my friends were like, Maria has older daughter, like firstborn her way through this party. She refuses any help. She refuses any assistance. What can we do for her?
Yeah.
So just before before everyone's about to sing happy birthday for me, my friend said, we've got a surprise for the person who said she's never been surprised in her life. And I was like, what is it? Nobody can surprise me.
Yeah.
Jonina comes out singing Maria Podesta just before happy birthday. I screamed, I jumped, I danced. I was delighted. It was so cute. Everyone was so happy.
Yeah.
There's videos of it, went onto TikTok and Twitter the next day. And then people started saying, oh my God, Jonina wrote a song about Maria in the 90s, and then he came to sing it at her 50th.
Oh,
and I was like, no, it's not me.
Yeah, but what a full circle moment though, because you knew the song back then already.
It was such a beautiful surprise. All my friends clubbing together and everyone who organized and all the DJs, and they all got it together that he would come out and perform, and I had no idea.
Oh, man.
But it was hilarious that then young people were like, yeah, Jonina came and sang a song for Maria, who he loved in the 90s. And I was like, no. And then my friend said, babe, just own it. You're Maria Podesta. That's that.
Maria Podesta by Jonina.
Ding dong. Ding dong. Ding dong. So shy a ding dong. Ding dong.
10:31, time for the latest in Eyewitness news headlines. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation on our Hanging Out feature with Maria Mloy, a cultural pioneer. She's a publicist, a designer, she's a DJ. You can call us as well or send a WhatsApp voice note on 072 702 1702. Sfiso, there is a retired Hawks officer who's testifying at the Madlanga Commission. What is he saying?
That's right, Clement. Good morning. Jacobus Prinsloo is giving evidence on the theft of 541 kilograms of cocaine from the Hawks' office in Port Shepstone in 2021. Testimony from a previous witness suggested that several protocols were not followed during the processing and storage of the drugs. Prinsloo is giving more details about the theft. Gauteng Finance MEC Nkululeko Dunga has committed to helping the city of Joburg improve its finances after Treasury threatened to hold funding. Minister Enoch Godongwana has written to Mayor Dada Morero raising issues including poor revenue collection, over expenditure and failure to pay creditors. Dunga says he will focus on improving financial governance and revenue management to restore stability in the metro. And Gun-Free South Africa is urging the public to participate in the legislative process around new gun laws. The proliferation of illegal firearms is a major problem in communities across the country. Recently, a parliamentary reply to Police Committee Chair Ian Cameron revealed that 153 guns belonging to the SAPS have been recovered from unlawful holders, while more than 200 were owned by private security companies. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling in Sharon Lee, we do have heavy traffic volumes along Malibongo Drive coming out of Bel-Air's Drive. Please be on the lookout there or try to use alternative routes, especially if you're heading towards Ferndale. While traveling on the N1 North towards the city of Tshwane, an accident reported right near Allendale Road. Delays coming on from the Baklu interchange. There's also queuing traffic due to another accident seen. This one is on the R24 West, right near the Kilulis interchange. Delays from Edenville Road. And then heading towards Amalgam, we still have got delays along the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Aubrey Masango. Weekday evenings, 8 to midnight.
Friday, the Pala report comes out at the Constitutional Court. Whatever the court says doesn't excuse the president from the responsibility he has to explain to us what was that money doing in the couch. The president had a whole bunch of dollars in his couch. What are you doing with money in your couch, bro? If the president is found to be wanting, what does the leadership of this country look like post Cyril Ramaphosa? Hey, Paul Mashatile, man. He's a nice guy and everything. But he too, man. That's stories, man.
Aubrey Masango. 8 to midnight on 702. 702.
Once upon a weekend on 9 and 10 May, the magical Marble Family Fest arrived at James and Ethel Gray. There's so much to tell you in such little time. We could never list it all, but we'll give it a try. There's fancy food and music, pottery and painting, bead bars and wine bars and jewelry creating, and because we love collaborating, there's a wheel of wonder from Investec joyfully circulating. Caricature artists, storyteller marvelists and gourmet popcorn galore, hair bedazzling, double horse carouseling. Oh, do you want more? Of course, there's the most
Mzansi, the excitement is building. The 130th running of the Hollywood Bets Durban July takes place on Saturday, 4 July. This year's theme, Country Allure, draws from the richness of our land, a celebration of heritage, freedom and style, inspired by our beautiful countryside. It's more than a race. It's where champions are made, stories are written, and greatness is unleashed. World-class horse racing, bold fashion, music, culture, and a day of endless excitement at Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse. Get your tickets now at Ticket Pro and release your glamour at the Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
Hey, we weren't quite done with all we had to say about the Magical Marble Family Fest this 9 and 10 May. With sports zones and ice cream cones piled higher than you think, terrarium creating, hairstyle decorating, maybe glitter and pink. With spaces for tots, adult bars for shots, and characters to meet, matcha sipping, candle dipping, and pantry as a treat. With magicians and musicians, the biggest family event lineup on display, carnival rides, carousel glides. Oh, and there's even a play. So bring your best, come to the Magical Marble Family Fest. Another grand collaboration with Investec in partnership with 947. Whew.
Sometimes all it takes to reshape the world and deliver better outcomes is a little unconventional thinking.
Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camissa Asset Management.
Polio, as you would know, crippled hundreds of thousands annually before there was a vaccine breakthrough. And eventually, when it came through, you would have expected its inventor to become fabulously wealthy. The patent owner, one Jonas Salk, was asked what he would say about owning the patent of the vaccine. And obviously the question really was all about how much money he was going to make. He was asked who owned patent for the polio vaccine. And he said there is no patent because could you patent the sun? It was something that was a gift for all of humanity.
Black Sheep Thinking, every Tuesday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, powered by Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP on 702.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
23 minutes before 11 o'clock, we are hanging out with Maria Mloy this morning on our Hanging Out feature. We're getting to know her also through music, getting to know her through the work she has done and the work that she continues to do. And I see your calls that are coming through in WhatsApp, so I'm going to come to them in a moment. 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. In fact, let's start with Gift, who's calling us from the Johannesburg CBD. Gift, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm super. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super, man. Clement, here's the thing, man. And I'm not really a fan of politics and all that. And you know there are dark secrets and all that. Smalling and a skeleton, as Batabile said. But I wish Maria and Action SA leader could do something. I mean, Maria will go out to buy tomatoes, ne?
Yeah.
And then she comes back with pictures of art and
yeah.
you know, and she still has an apartment in Yeoville. I think it's Yeoville, if I'm not mistaken. She stays there, and it's one of those things that you also want to get a place that side, and you know, so I wish something could happen there. She said she wanted to go into politics. Maybe it's not that too late.
I didn't say that.
Somebody say that, not her.
Never.
But she studied journalism and she was exposed to politics and all that. I wish maybe she can take that path because I believe the 10-year plan, 15-year plan, him and Mashaba and so, you know, could have worked with collaboration with Maria. But good stalwart, Nje. Good stalwart. And for the mere fact that she's but again, then an ally of the LGBTI community. Like we see her there, libo tandies and like, if I can just get a picture with her.
Yeah.
But you know, she is who she is. Very shy and reserved and beautiful soul in general.
Shy.
I love her so much.
Okay, Gift, thank you for your call in the Johannesburg CBD.
Oh.
You shy?
I actually am quite shy, but I am shy. But when I became a journalist, I remember the day, like, I was like, it's not going to work to be shy, girl.
Yeah.
Go say hello. So I remember walking up to Tembi and Lebu, like, hi, I'm Maria.
Yeah.
You know, I went up to all the artists and introduced myself. So I'm good at pretending I'm not shy. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't work in our job. That was lovely what Gift said. You know what? I did live in Yeoville and we had a fire 2 years ago. Going on 3 years ago, and we're actually fighting insurance to pay us back.
Really?
We lived in a beautiful building on the top of the hill in Yeoville. And it was also key because so many cultural people live there. You know, CC from Freshly Ground, Kudzanai Chirai, Dineo Bupape, Nakana lived there. Tebe Makugu started his collections and working from there. So we were a creative building and we had a fire. But she is right. I am very about photographing the city and every African city I go to, actually. I like taking photos and showing people the city. I think the city is where creativity is. I don't believe any cultural movement comes out of the burbs. I think everything comes from the city and townships.
Yes.
And then it moves out.
Everybody I've spoken to on the show who is a creative always talks about the buzzing city and how it enabled that creativity and how they used to just chill. Like you would find Brenda Fassie
in Yeoville all the time.
Just that was a normal thing.
Yes.
And many other artists. What do you think of the city now?
I feel sad because I followed it for you know, we work in the city. I make my clothes at Effie Mall Studio in town. I do my embroidery in town.
Still kept it
my
there,
bag
studio.
making in town. Yeah, Effie Mall and Tula Cindy, who are my fashion mentors, are in town. And when I did shoes, they were made in town. The beadwork people I work with are on Mai or on Market Street. And I buy cloth on Market Street. And, you know, the knitwear, where I make my knitwear isn't far away. So everything is kind of city-based for creatives. And we can see it falling apart, and that's really sad. And Yeovil looks really terrible. And I would never get involved in politics, but I think artists in music and in what we photograph and in what we make and how we collaborate with each other and across the continent is the message within itself. And, music becomes diplomacy and has a message. Look at Amapiano going all over the world and Tyler being famous and Tebe Magugu and Rich Mnisi and Laduma being famous. It takes a message across the continent and across the world. And the way we like Afrobeats from Nigeria and like Nigerian style, it's I think that's the work of what we do. But I love gift message. That was very nice.
Yeah. So where do the creatives hang out now? Like where's that
hub?
What's that hub? The campfire.
I worry about that because in my day it was Newtown, and now Newtown's dead, and I don't know how a city would just let, Baseline was pumping. There was not only Admiral and Jazz Seed, but something it was curated every day, and there was the dance stuff behind Baseline, which is still happening, moving into dance and everything is behind there, and Vuyani Dance Theatre. But, all the coffee shops and markets, there was a flea market outside Market Theatre all the time. And I guess earlier, even before I came to Joburg, the whole of Mary Fitzgerald Square was also a market. I think there is nowhere for a lot of talent came up through open mic sessions and, hangout sessions. And we would discover people like, say, Simpiwe Dana at Monday Blues. Or I would go to 206 and that's where I discovered Lebu Mashile. And I feel that place where people can just be discovered and practice isn't there. And I think it should be there. And I think actually every city should have one live music venue that artists can perform at that doesn't cost a lot. And every city should have a shop like Africa Rise. I sell in Africa Rise, which was in Sandton City and is now moving to Nelson Mandela Square, pioneered by Tula Cindy, and there's 40 South African and African designers in there. Imagine each city had a shop like that. Because artists want to perform, but it costs a lot to put on a show. And designers want to sell, but it costs a lot to have a shop. So there could be some sort of corporate or government intervention where we could present our creativity, I think.
Absolutely. Let's go to some WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Hey, 702, this is Malay. I am so excited that you have Maria Mloy in the studio today. And I just needed to send my own voice note to give Maria, first of all, a big shout out. She is such an exceptional woman in the industry. We have such major respect for Maria Mloy. I think she's made such an incredible name for herself, and particularly in PR, but just as an entrepreneur and musoto rauklima. And I just love your work ethic, and I think you're such an inspiration to many of us who are in the industry who have learned just by watching you over the years that hard work really does pay off. I want to send my love to you this morning and just say thank you for everything that you've ever done for me. She blessed me with the cover of Ditapel. I was wearing a beautiful, beautiful jacket by Maria Mloy, and I know if anybody knows the work that she does in design as well and in fashion, she's an icon. So we love you, Maria. Much, much love for me. And yeah, thank you 702 for bringing such amazing, amazing guests. Thank you always for the support. Much love.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you,
so
Malay.
sweet.
That's so sweet. Here's another voice note.
Hello, Wonder World. This is Zoe Muteja. I'm a musician, and I've had the absolute pleasure of being able to work alongside the incredible, incomparable Maria Mloy. I actually just did a show at the Market Theatre on the iconic John Gunny stage, and Mloy was a part of the PR then. And our journeys go a long way because she also attended my very first album launch that happened at the Joburg Theatre for my debut album, Yellow the Novel. This is one person who's very matter of fact, who will work you to the bone, but who really believes in storytellers, in making culture. And she has been able to champion so many of us over the years, so earnestly. And I would say she's a cultural icon in her own right. But it's been so beautiful to interact with her in the workspace and to also just get to know the spirit behind the work. Because once you know that, it gives a better scope and understanding of the soul that she is. So Mloy, thank you for all it is that you have been to all of us, to me, Thank you for championing me over the years and being able to be a part of bridging the gap between us and our audiences, between us and our opportunities, between us and what we then get to do, which is tell stories and reflect the human experience. May you have a life that is filled with more wonder, more abundance, more goodness, and just know that people such as myself hold you to high regard, and we're grateful for you. Mwah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Hi, Clement. I work on an annual event called Contra Joburg, where all the visual artists open their studios across the CBD, and there are more than 200 visual artists, and there are about 8 studio spaces, big studio spaces, in the CBD. It is still filled with creativity, though the city is struggling, and I agree with Maria. The creativity comes from the city.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Those are such wonderful
Those are
voice
such wonderful
notes.
messages. I'm working with Male on a show actually at Constitution Hill on the 23rd, and I just worked with Zoe. And you know, the person who took me to that Zoe show was Thandiswa. She was like, let's go watch this person. And I feel like when I do my publicity work, of course we have to make money, and money is important. And creatives are not very good at the money and business part. But most important to me is to work with people who are amazing.
Yeah.
So like the people I've worked with in the past, when I invite people like you to a show, I want you to have that same wow feeling I have, which is of course the feeling of Thandiswa, who's also my friend, working with Zoe, working with Nakane. I used to work with Lady Smith Black Mambazo. Strava and his team are just incredible. I work with amazing artists like Kudzanai Churai and on FNB Art Joburg. And just like when I was a journalist on our own website, rage.co.za, and shows like Street Journal, it's about showcasing. I've always wanted to be like, the world must see what Africa's about. And we're incredible. Every day I'm like, wow, I have goosebumps when I go to these artists I work with shows, and when I see this art. And it doesn't matter in our crazy political world that you cover, there is always such amazing talent.
True.
And there's no point in being talented if no one knows. So that's my job. I come in and I'm like, I'm going to show the world. I'm going to bother Clement and Bongani and all the journalists, and I nag you all every day like, please come on, artists, come on.
Yeah, because we've got such incredible artists. All right, it's 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're going to come back and continue our chat with Maria Mloy. I see your WhatsApp voice notes. We'll start with them after the break.
702 Early Breakfast with Africa Milani.
My show is about waking up 702 land every weekday morning. I cover a variety of subject matter, current affairs, obviously, sports is big, and we discuss business as well. But also we have a laugh. We'll talk about nonsensical things that really make us survive some of the challenges we experience. The kind of listener that listens is somebody ambitious who's about to wake up and go to work and contribute constructively to this wonderful country of ours, and somebody who is troubled by the problems of the country and the world and are looking for solutions. And I love that about them. And what I like and love about the 702 family and 702 land is how solutions focused the listener is. You present them with a challenge, they will have a solution to that challenge almost immediately, sometimes at great cost to themselves. They love this country passionately and they want to see it prosper. That for me is absolutely incredible.
702 Early Breakfast with Africa Milani. Weekdays from 4 to 6 a.m.
Do you need a little magic in your weekend? At the Magical Marble Family Fest, you'll find a luxury playground for everyone. It's a day out in the sun, full of activities for all ages. Carnival rides, exciting performances, and Joburg's finest flavors, where every moment feels elevated, every space feels magical, and every ticket opens the door to moments your family will never forget. Get your tickets at magicalmarblefamilyfest.com. Another grand collaboration with Investec in partnership with 947 this 9th and 10th of May at James and Ethel Gray Park.
Moving to a bigger office space can be expensive. Thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I get to save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. Plus, I get My Business Assist, which helps me with marketing, legal, and admin services. Saving money while growing my business is a great win for me.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your monthly premiums. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 today for a quote. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
Hey, we buy cars. How does it work if I want to sell my car?
We'll drive to your place. You can visit our pods. Even if you don't have space, then at the mall in a parking lot, we've got lots of depots all across the land. Contact We Buy Cars. You're in safe hands. Safe hands.
Wow, that's great.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes before 11 o'clock, hanging out with Maria Mloy this morning on our Hanging Out feature, a cultural pioneer, a publicist, a designer, a DJ, and a lot of you are sending messages. Uncle P on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, thank you for bringing us Maria. What a lovely, kind soul she is. I'm grooving along also the music that she has chosen. Thank you so much. And then another one says, Clement, Maria is a special rooted woman who does not see herself as a celebrity at all. When I was a PR intern at MultiChoice, I got our team to buy African print bags and notebooks from her store as PR gifts to launch Ebony Live channel on DSTV. She still remembers my face from that time. Whenever I see her at random venues in Joburg, she always greets me, which I find to be so touching. Oh, that's a message there from someone on the WhatsApp line. Here are some WhatsApp voice notes that have also come through.
Hey, Maria. This is Brian Magwenya. When I hearing your voice takes me back, man. Takes me back, well, quite towards this thing. I wonder where is your friend and partner in crime, Gudwanos Kosana. Yeah, ne? Hey, those days.
Hi, Clement. So nice to hear Maria on the radio. She only came on my radar probably like 12, 14 years ago when I started collecting sneakers, and she was at this sneaker exchange or sneaker event in Braamfontein when Braamfontein was still cool. I loved how she was talking. She was one of the keynote speakers, and I loved her style. I always was just drawn to her because of how cool she was. Like, she had the swag. I remember even following her on Instagram immediately, not knowing that she has so many layers. Like, wow, I didn't know that she was a journalist. I had no idea that she was part of the Channel O gang and the ones that had this amazing cultural vibe of the mid-90s and the early 2000s. Like, I take my hat off to her for just being this type of person. I'm so glad that I tuned in today while driving in Gauteng, and wow, I could listen to this lady all day. Thanks for having her on, Clement.
I just want to say, Maria, yes, you are the mayor of culture in Jozi. Definitely. And listen, I've watched you over the years from back in the 90s, especially when you started out Black Rage, with the three of you having started what the culture is and arts and what entertainment is. You were the vibrant youth of that time. And look at you now. I am so proud of you. And yes, Clement, I also have an outfit from Maria, which she gave me as a birthday present. It's a winter jacket made of a Lesotho blanket, which I'm glad to be wearing again this coming winter. Congratulations, Maria, for everything that you are and you are still to be. Notemba.
Wow. Oh my God.
Beautiful.
Those messages, those are so great. And how nice to get them as I turned 50 this year.
Wow.
And those people really encompassed all that I am, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Let's wrap up with one of your other favorite songs. You love Trompies, eh?
I love Kwaito, period.
Yeah.
I believe that was our golden era. And also, I don't believe in music ending. I think Kwaito became Durban House, which became Piano. Actually, I don't believe like Kwaito just ended there. But to me, that's my golden era. And, you know, Trompies are amazing. Lebu, I mean, it's sad we lost her.
Yeah.
Imagine what she would be doing today.
Oh.
I also tend to always play this song in my sets.
Mahasman.
Haki fensui, haki jivey, haki jivey. Hold on.
Oh man, beautiful, beautiful music. You know, the thing about you is, I mean, I never play so many songs on the Hanging Out feature because we end up talking. But you love music.
I do.
And I was like, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't incorporate as much music as we could. I was hoping we'll get to Black Coffee featuring Nakani, We Dance Again, because that's one of the best numbers ever. And I know you were telling me a story of air that you actually made that song happen.
Yeah, so you remember I said I live in Westminster Mansions.
Yeah.
Anyone want to do some legal work for me? We need help getting our insurance to rebuild it. Anyway,
From 3 years
Nakane
ago.
was my neighbor, actually, and he's the partner of a colleague of mine from when I worked at MTV.
Yeah.
So very close. They even shot the video there. I was there while they were recording, and I had known Black Coffee actually since before he was famous. I met him at the Red Bull Music Academy in about 2004. And then when he had Tshwane, I ended up doing some bio writing for them. He actually, when I did a Mail and Guardian story when he announced to the world that he had a disability, because he didn't always say that, till 2009. And also when he covered Hugh Masekela's Stimela, I wrote a story about that also for the Mail and Guardian. So I had a close enough relationship to DM him and say, like, you have got to listen to Nakane. This is Nakane's number. They got together and We Dance Again happened. And I just love that. I love connecting people.
Yeah. What does Maria Mloy still want to do? You're turning 50 this year.
I turned
You've
50.
reflected on your journey. You've turned 50.
Yeah.
You've reflected on your journey. Is there anything else you like? That's always been on my list and I want to achieve that.
Well, like I was saying, I just was talking to someone at City Press who just told me that this is their last edition. So I'm wondering, I'm so sad about media and journalists and what's happening. Like, we're losing TV and newspapers and even online. So I'm worried about that and looking at that. Like, what is my next move going to be? I kind of always have made it work, being a journalist, then being a publicist, also doing clothes, also DJing, all doing it. And someone said, if you were rich, what would you be doing? Like, what would you want to do if you had all the money in the world? And I said exactly this.
Exactly this. Wow.
I would like to carry on like this. I would definitely like to travel more,
Yeah.
travel throughout the continent, make things, make clothing and jewelry throughout the continent. But I also want to keep telling African culture stories in whatever medium that's going to exist from now on.
Yeah. Well, Maria Mloy, thank you so much. We appreciate you and thank you for your contribution to the culture and the scene and the industry. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be invited, and Kutlwano and Zino are listening too. Zino is
Shout out to them.
He is a lecturer in journalism in England, and Kutlwano is in Italy and has a podcast called the Shades and Layers podcast.
Beautiful.
So I'm just here representing all of us, and we appreciate it, and I appreciate people who appreciate my current work too. It was a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Love it.
Joburg audiences are loving Pretty Women the musical. Don't miss the Broadway and West End smash hit, packed with romance, laughter, and the unforgettable music of Bryan Adams. Now on stage at Monte Casino's Teatro for a limited season only until 31 May. Book your seats now at showtime.co.za. Beyond the movie, Pretty Women, the love story you know, the musical you'll never forget. Brought to you by Showtime Management.
Reliable water services depend on a sustainable system. When residents pay for municipal services, it enables Johannesburg Water to maintain infrastructure, repair leaks, upgrade networks, and continue delivering essential water and sanitation services to the city. Revenue collected from services is reinvested into operating and strengthening the water system for everyone. By paying for services, residents play an important role in supporting the sustainability of Johannesburg's water supply. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water and sanitation utility that cares.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. A retired Hawks officer has started with testimony at the Madlanga Commission related to a drug bust. U.S President is giving evidence on the theft of 541 kilograms of cocaine from the Hawks offices in Port Shepstone in 2021. Testimony from a previous witness suggested that several protocols were not followed during the processing and storage of the drugs. President says he was involved in processing the scene of the questionable 200 million rand drug bust.
I've been based at the DPCI Port Shepstone office, which is situated at number 2 Princess Elizabeth Drive in Port Shepstone since 2004. This was before the establishment of the DPCI, which happened in 2009. I must state that the DPCI Port Shepstone office is not a police station.
The family of arrested Member of Parliament Fadil Adams has criticised the police on how his arrest was handled. Adams was arrested in Cape Town earlier this week for allegedly interfering with the murder case of ANC councillor Sindiso Magaqa. He's expected to appear in the Pinetown Magistrates Court today on charges of fraud and defeating the ends of justice. The National Coloured Congress leader was transported by police from the Western Cape to KwaZulu-Natal after his arrest. But Adams' wife says it's unfair that police kept details of the trip from the family and his attorney.
I just want to see my husband. Is that too much to ask? He's a South African citizen. We have rights, all of us. This is ridiculous. It's like a witch hunt, man.
Gauteng Finance MEC Nkululeko Dunga has committed to helping the City of Joburg improve its finances after Treasury threatened to withhold funding. Minister Enoch Godongwana has written to Mayor Dada Morero raising issues including poor revenue collection, over-expenditure and the failure to pay creditors. Dunga says he will focus on improving financial governance and revenue management to restore the stability in the metro. Jabuli Lembata reports.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is writing to the Joburg Mayor Dada Morero for the second time this year, raising the issue that the state of finances in the metro is deteriorating and in turn negatively impacting service delivery and infrastructure maintenance. One of the issues raised by the minister is the city's wage agreement with the Municipal Workers Union of 10.3 billion rand, something Godongwana says the city cannot afford. Gauteng Finance MEC Nkululeko Dunga has noted these concerns, saying it will be a focus under his 100 days program. He adds that he will communicate a clear program of action soon to outline the specifics of restoration efforts. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
And Gun-Free South Africa is urging the public to participate in the legislative process around new gun laws. The proliferation of illegal firearms is a major problem in communities across the country. Recently, a parliamentary reply to Police Committee Chair Ian Cameron revealed that 153 guns belonging to the SAPS have been recovered from unlawful holders, while more than 200 were owned by private security companies. Gun-Free South Africa Stanley Maposa reminds communities that Firearms Control Amendment Bill will be tabled this year.
If community members that face these issues on a daily basis do not participate, the danger is that the law will then carry the views of the few that are not directly affected by gun violence daily.
Gold is trading at $4,741.76 an ounce. The rand is at 16.34 to the dollar, 22.25 to the pound, 19.23 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $100.89 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is in the Waterfall area. That's due to an accident reported right near Allendale Road. Delays coming out of the Baklu interchange while traveling. On the N12 West, we've got queuing traffic. This is between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures have peaked at highs between 14 and 17 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, a retired Hawks officer has started with testimony at the Madlanga Commission related to a questionable drug bust.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thanks for staying with us here on 702. We've got so much to get through on our Thursday dialogue this morning and lots of guests. So let's get straight into it.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's Walk the Talk on 702.
On our Thursday dialogue this morning, we are reflecting on Sisisi Tolashe's appearance in Parliament yesterday. That's the Minister of Social Development. I've got a number of guests this morning that are going to help us understand what she said yesterday. Did she lie? Did she not? What difficult questions should the committee have asked? But also, what did the Public Service Commission find in as far as her chief of staff is concerned? Remember, the chief of staff is no longer there because she lied on her CV. She got that job. You and I were paying her 1.4 million rand as taxpayers every year. And yet she didn't even qualify for the job. She didn't have the requisite qualifications, nor the required experience, right? And I want us to just get a sense of what are the tough questions that should have been asked, and are we ever going to see accountability here? So you're welcome to join this conversation. You can give us a call. You can send us a WhatsApp as well. I will bring in Lumka Olifant because she was mentioned yesterday in Parliament. I'll bring in Rebecca Davis, who is the Daily Maverick investigative journalist, because she's the one that broke the stories and investigated Minister Tolashe about the vehicles, about her chief of staff, about this helper as well. I'll bring in Lindsay Dentlinger as well, our EWN parliamentary correspondent, because I want her to tell you how the ANC members of parliament went and defended Sisisi Tolashe. Lindsay Dentlinger will join us to share that perspective. But we're going to start this conversation with Advocate Ashley Seal, who is the Public Service Commissioner for the Western Cape, who is joining us now on the line. Advocate, thank you so much for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to your listeners and the fellow guests as well. Thank you for the invitation.
No, thank you for joining us. So let's look at the recommendations. You have made findings, obviously, as the Public Service Commission regarding the minister's chief of staff and whether or not she qualified and who doctored the CV or not. Can you just, in a nutshell, in summary, tell us what you have found? Who are the implicated persons here, and what have you recommended should be done?
Certainly. So in terms of the findings, Clement, they're quite damning. But before I unpack the findings, perhaps just for the listeners' sake, we raised this in Parliament yesterday as well. The report is a provisional report from the Commission. So in terms of our processes, we provide the Executive Authority with a preliminary report. In this case, for the Minister to evaluate the report and provide us with feedback. There was a due date for that, and the Minister had requested an extension which ends next week, the 14th. So our final report will be submitted shortly after the due date of the 14th. So listeners just need to bear that in mind. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the findings, we essentially found that Ms. Mabeleche, who was initially appointed as the private and appointment secretary, her appointment was irregular. And the reasons for that irregular appointment is she did not qualify for appointment into that particular post. And the reasons for that The requirements for the post was an NQF level 7, which is either a degree or an advanced diploma, as we know. She did not possess an NQF 7 qualification. She had an NQF level 6 qualification, so that would have automatically excluded her. And then in terms of the experience requirement, it was a minimum of 5 years experience at either a middle management level of experience or a senior level of experience. And we found that her experience level was grossly inadequate. It was less than a year. And in actual fact, some of the other findings we made that there were inaccuracies, if I can use that word, recorded on a CV, both in terms of qualifications and in terms of work experience. So those inaccuracies are reflected in a CV, but they also cascaded into the processes just leading up to her appointment. So, for example, she was required to undergo a competency assessment. And part of the competency assessment procedure is for you to complete a client information form, which captures your personal particulars and details of your qualifications and experience. And we've determined that there were inaccuracies listed on that form as well as other procedures where it inquired into her work experience. For example, we detected that she claimed that she had experience within the social development department as a private secretary for 3 years. That was proven to be false. It was also claimed that she had private secretary experience of 5 years. That was recorded in another application form. And our investigation determined that that information was false. We also found out that 3 sets of CVs were utilized at various times during the application. The first CV was submitted by Ms. Mabilecha herself. That was her CV submitted to a senior official in the minister's office who happens to be her uncle. Once that CV was then transmitted to the next official within the ministry, certain changes had been effected to the CV. And once the other official in the ministry submitted it to the department's human resource division, there had been even more amendments made to the CV. So as you can see, a litany of irregularities in the process, and all of that has been provisionally identified in our report.
So, Advocate, can the minister then just separate herself from that process and say, well, I'm not the one who signed off on the contract. It was the department that these people in my ministry came through. What responsibility does she take?
Yeah, I think technically, Minister is correct in saying that she did not make the appointment. It was the DG at the time that made the appointment. However, the view of the Commission is that with an appointment of this nature, of a private secretary or chief of staff in a ministry, and we must remember what important function such an official performs. They play the role of a conduit between the department and the ministry, and a variety of important other engagements that they will be responsible for. And as such, there's an obligation on the executive to ensure that anybody that's appointed into their office meets the requirements for the post. So we have the view that although the appointment was signed off and approved by the DG at the time, that there was still a measure of responsibility on the executive, both the minister and the deputy minister.
And also, Advocate, I mean, we are not naive here. We know that there's no chief of staff that's ever going to be imposed on a minister. So it's not like, chief of staffs ministers actually choose the people in their ministry. Like they take the lead in choosing that. So we can't be made to feel like, oh, the minister didn't know anything and, she just was told this is your chief of staff. I mean, I don't buy that.
Absolutely. And that's why we're saying that there is a measure of balance that needs to be implemented when it comes to these appointments. It's not an appointment made in a vacuum. There are specific roles and responsibilities, but there's also a measure of oversight from the executive that needs to be implemented.
So what's the accountability here? Because this woman was paid 1.4 million rand.
Yeah.
So will she pay back the money?
Yeah, we've absolutely. So the commission has not made recommendations, and I think that's another important element to note. We have a constitutional power to issue recommendations and provide advice, but importantly, we also have a constitutional power to issue directions, and there's a distinction between directions and recommendations. So we've utilized the power of directions in this instance, Clement, and the reason for that is those directions, in our view, are binding. So the directions that we've issued are numerous, and on your question, we've specified that there needs to be cost recovery. There was an irregular appointment of the private secretary and then the chief of staff, and that money needs to be recovered by the department. So we have directed the department to initiate cost recovery mechanisms.
Good.
And we've also directed the department to initiate disciplinary proceedings against a variety of officials in the department. Now, the issue gets a little bit challenging because a number of the involved officials have subsequently either resigned, left the department, or retired. But in the instance of Ms. Mabilecha, who was, one of the chief protagonists here, and as I've indicated, we've made a finding that there was an element of fraud involved. Besides the cost recovery, there needs to be other interventions from the department in order to address that particular
the
fraud.
fact that the department didn't take it up as their responsibility to even go open a case against this woman tells you that they do want to protect her, because if they realized, which is why the minister took action against the DG, if they realized that this person falsified his CV, if they were serious about accountability, they should have actually gone and opened a case, or at the very least started that process of recovering the money that this woman was paid. Just lastly, Advocate, what is the role that the advisor to the minister played here? Have you made any findings against him, the special advisor to the minister?
Yes, we have. As indicated, we've determined that there were certain amendments effected to the CV of the applicant, and in our view, those amendments were effected by the individual that you referred to, and we have at this stage advised that disciplinary action be instituted against this particular official. As I've said, this is a preliminary report. There are a few minor details that are still under consideration by the Commission. We'll also consider the feedback from the Minister. But our report is to a large degree at the stage of finalization, but we will consider the two minor issues from our own side that we're looking at and any feedback given by the minister. And there might be a small tweak here or there to our directions that we've issued.
And will you be investigating the issue of, because I think the chairperson of the committee yesterday asked you to take up the matter of this food aid. Is that something you're going to investigate?
Yes, we understand that that was a proposal from the committee, but there was also one of the honourable members that indicated that they had already sent a request to the Portfolio Committee for Public Service and Administration. So the Commission awaits that request to initiate that particular investigation. Obviously, the first step for us would be to see who are the parties involved, because the Commission doesn't investigate executive authorities, ministers and deputy ministers. So that's the public protector's responsibility. But if there is any involvement of officials or the administration at large, that is certainly a matter that the Commission will not shy away from. So we wait that correspondence, and then we will decide on what steps we initiate, Clement.
All right. Advocate Ashley Seal, thank you. I appreciate your time. He is with the Public Service Commission. It's 21 after 11.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
All right, let's bring in Rebecca Davis now. You've heard what the Public Service Commission has found. I'm glad to hear that they're going to start the process of recovering the monies that this chief of staff was paid. She didn't deserve to be paid that amount because she didn't deserve to be even in this position. She didn't have the required experience. She didn't have the qualifications. and yet we were paying her so much money every single month. She has to pay back that money. And the fact that the department itself didn't start that process just tells you how all of this is just a smokescreen. They've always wanted to protect this chief of staff, and they've always wanted to protect the special advisor to the minister. Rebecca Davis is a journalist with the Daily Maverick who actually broke many of the stories about Minister Sisisi Tolashe. She joins us now on the line as we reflect on Minister Tolashe's appearance in Parliament yesterday. Rebecca, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thanks for having me.
Were you surprised at the stuff that the minister said yesterday? And maybe let's take it, point by point. Let's start maybe with the issue of the vehicles, because she is saying that, well, the matter is being handled by the ethics committee and let's allow that process to continue. But yes, these vehicles are the vehicles that were donated to the ANC Women's League. Were you surprised at how she responded to that issue?
No, this is now her standard narrative. The cars were for the ANC Women's League, therefore she had no reason to declare them to Parliament. We know that the ANC Women's League did not know about the cars. We know that she registered the cars in her kids' names and that her daughter subsequently sold a car, which should surely create some level of cynicism about that answer. And we also know that even if they were donated to the ANC Women's League, the ANC should have disclosed them in their political party funding for that period and did not.
Also, I mean, if you are telling us that the cars belong to the ANC Women's League, you register them in your children's name and your children use them and your daughter decides to sell the car, I wonder if the ANC Women's League had a say in the car that was donated to them, supposedly being sold by the daughter of the minister. But you reported last week, I think, Rebecca, that the car that the daughter replaced, because she sold the car, the Chinese vehicle that was given to her mother, and then she bought a new car. And that new car she bought is the one that's now been sent to Luthuli House under the pretense of, oh, look, these vehicles do belong to the ANC Women's League, and they're now parked at Luthuli House.
That's right. The cars that she were given were both Bike X55 Beijings. She returned one of those, and the other one is a totally new car. It's a Cherry Jaiku. So the idea that these were the cars donated is simply false, and the fact that the ANC Women's League is prepared to apparently accept this, I think, says quite a lot about the current state of the league and various patronage networks within it.
Yeah, true. And one of the things that I actually wanted to clarify was this donation. If truly, let's go with the story that she's trying to sell to us, that these cars belong to the ANC Women's League. The question then becomes, was this a violation of Section 8 of the Political Funding Act? Because the donation came from a foreign government or a government agency. I mean, this is a suggestion being made. And I did contact some people at the IEC who said that, they have to, of course, determine, what the issue is here. But it may be a violation of Section 8 of the Political Funding Act. And I wonder how the ANC Women's League then is going to move around that, because the minister then would be putting them under the bus. And they must now explain, if they received a donation from a foreign agency or foreign government, why didn't they declare that? So it's going to be interesting to see how they spin this. Let's move now, Rebecca, to the issue of the food aid. The minister seems to suggest that she knew nothing about this arrangement between this helper/food aid and her own daughter. What did you find in your investigations that sort of disprove what she told Parliament yesterday?
It's that the food aid was given a letter of appointment, never a contract, she says. A letter of appointment which is clearly on a Department of Social Development letterhead, which inscribes that financial arrangement as part of it baked in from the start. It says you'll be paid this much, roughly 15,000, of which 8,000 will be remuneration, and the remaining 7,000 and a bit will go towards the minister's house allocation. That is what it says on the appointment letter, which Sisisi Tolashe says is fake. But she doesn't dispute that this woman was on the government payroll. So the idea that this part of it is fake, but the rest is not, is again a little bit hard to swallow.
So she's saying what? The appointment letter is what's fake?
She's saying that part specifically is fake. And that she had no knowledge that this woman was paying over all this money to her daughter. And that her daughter also didn't know, but did know. I mean, she said, when I asked Kanisa, she had no knowledge of that except for them having to stay together and share things between the two of them. Nothing about the story makes sense, frankly, Clement.
Oh.
Why did she have to stay with the daughter? Why was she at the private residence? Tolashe seems to imply that it's because she got sick, and then Tolashe, out of the kindness of her heart, arranged a transfer to her private residence in East London. But that is not allowed.
That
you
is
cannot
not
use
allowed.
government funds for that.
So that's where my disappointment was with Parliament, this committee on social development yesterday, because I feel like that's a basic question that they should have asked. And it's almost like they were just taking the minister's story. If the minister says, well, we did arrange for her to go to the Eastern Cape, where in the law does it allow for a food aide who's supposed to be based at your official residences to be in your private residence? What did you make of how the committee and the members of parliament there just handled this, and especially the chairperson? Because I get it with the ANC, of course, they're always going to protect their comrades. But at the very least, the chairperson of that committee should have really prepared hard and asked these very basic questions.
It was a difficulty for me too, Clement, I must be honest. We know that the chair is a DA MP, Bridget Masango, and I think she is very scrupulous about rules and about seeming even-handed and fairness, and I do understand that, but there were points where I felt very frustrated at the extent to which a proper ventilation of these issues was seemingly being a little stifled. I felt sorry for the MPs who were trying to get there, from the DA, from Action SA, and from MK2, and we're not really making any inroads. And the issue too, Clement, is that there were so many issues to be dealt with in this meeting, which is a sign on its own of the level of scandal that Tolashe is trailing at the moment, that it was just very hard to deal with anything in a substantive way because there's 6 different controversies on the table in front of you.
Yeah. And then there was the issue of the Director General and the minister trying to suggest that her signature was somehow, the digital signature included there in the contract. But didn't she tell Parliament something completely different some time ago? What do you make of her explanations of how she dealt with the issue of the DG?
I just thought it was a bit funny because she was effectively owning up to what Donald Trump keeps accusing Joe Biden of, being the auto pen president. She was giving the impression that her electronic signature can just be added to documents willy-nilly. She has gone really back and forth on her explanations for the DG contract. Initially, it was a clerical error. Then we know she immediately charged Netshipale with, fraud, basically, which completely contradicted her claim to Parliament just a week earlier that it was an unintentional clerical error. And now we also know that a forensic investigation undertaken at the behest of her own department has found it really unlikely that she didn't know about the contract, that she didn't know her signature had been appended, and that forensic report concluded that Minister Tolashe may in fact have colluded to some degree with Netshipale in order to get him a longer contract than he was legally entitled to.
What do you think happens next, Rebecca? The ANC Women's League, the Secretary General that we interviewed on the show was very clear. She was like, this is not true. There are no vehicles that have been donated to the ANC Women's League. I mean, that's the Secretary General of the ANC Women's League. That's the engine of this body of the ANC. If she herself, as the SG, doesn't know about vehicles supposedly donated, then who knows? What do you think happens next? Because it feels like now they are closing ranks and they may try to just defend her, which is something that actually has been done before in the party.
Yes, of course. This is not new. So from what we understand about the very long ANC Women's League meeting that was held over the Freedom Day weekend is that there was contestation about this. There were people, including in leadership, who just were refusing to buy Tolashe's story, but that she was very robustly defended, in particular by a delegation from the Eastern Cape led by Princess Faku, who's the mayor of Buffalo City, and that in the end they seemed to have reached acceptance. The conclusion was she brought the cars back. Fine, we're going to let this go.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Rebecca, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Oh, by the way, someone actually on the WhatsApp line says the story about Marupene Ramaphosa, that's another minister that you reported in your investigation, that she received these Chinese vehicles as well. But she's been denying that.
Clement, I'm so glad you brought this up because this is really an important issue. Marupene Ramaphosa received 3 of the same cars. Tasha only got 2, and there is no heat on her still. And my sources say it is because she has been earmarked for a very significant role within the ANC, possibly SG, or something similarly senior, and as a result, they simply will not allow this matter to be probed further. But the facts remain. Our investigation showed she got those cars. They were apparently registered by a former bodyguard. She needs to account for that.
Yeah, and we'll keep on staying on this story. Thank you, Rebecca Davis, for your brilliant work at the Daily Maverick. I appreciate your time. It's just after 11:30. When we come back, I'm going to bring in the chair of the Social Development Committee in Parliament, and I'm going to bring in Lindsay Dentlinger as well to join us. She was in Parliament listening, especially to those ANC MPs who were defending Minister Tolashe. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Mazanga Commission is scrutinizing the theft of drugs at the Hawks offices in Port Shepstone, with commissioners questioning why the facility had no security in place. Retired Hawks officer Jacobus Prinsloo is testifying before the commission today about the 2021 theft of 541 kilograms of cocaine. Before retiring last year, Prinsloo served as the unit commander of the Hawks' Port Shepstone office, where the cocaine had been stolen. Some critical services have been disrupted in the Eastern Cape due to flooding. The Gqeberha Community Health Centre has been temporarily closed after floodwaters rendered parts of that facility inaccessible and unsafe. Heavy rain and strong winds continue to impact several communities across the Eastern Cape, with some residents already displaced. And police watchdog IPID has reported 29 rape cases opened against Gauteng police, including one incident involving a minor. Out of the reported cases, one is alleged to have happened at the Meyerton police station, where the victim was not in custody. This is contained in a Gauteng legislature response following questions from the DA. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on the Cedar Road, this is in the Fourways area. We do have delays approaching Witkappen Road. There's also queuing traffic reported on the Mike North just as you approach coming out of Glenhove Road. This is due to roadworks taking place along the route. Please be on the lookout there. More roadworks are causing delays along the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Gilulis interchange. Heading towards Amalgam, we still have got queuing traffic on the M2 West between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. Otherwise, heading towards the Joburg CBD via Main Reef Road, do expect heavier traffic volumes. An accident has been reported along this route. It happened right after Crownwood Road. It's causing delays from Nasrec Road. Please approach with care. Otherwise, that's your last traffic update from me, Amo Ramela. Karabujali will have your next report from the 12 o'clock onwards. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
President Ramaphosa had no prior knowledge of who would be present during the visit, nor is he familiar with the said individual. Is it not standard procedure that when anyone from our government, but in particular our president, is going to a foreign country, I get that there may be state banquets where there are possibly 150 people there, and if it's a larger function, to get a guest list and make sure that if there are going to be issues that could be awkward, that there's some kind of screening and if necessary, some kind of action taken.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Add a pinch of music to your weekend with the Magical Marble Family Fest, where the acts are all next level with 2 stages each with their own vibe. One moment you're in the middle of a Mikasa spectacle, the next you're discovering something unexpected. Get ready to enjoy some of our country's best performers, there to entertain you and your family all day and all night. Get your tickets at magicalmarblefestivalfest.com. Another grand collaboration with Investec in partnership with 947. This 9th and 10th of May at James and Ethel Gray Park.
Saddle up. Hollywood Bets invites you to join the race day festivities this champion season. The 2026 Grade 1 Hollywood Bets Gold Challenge kickstarts the action. Gallop towards your chance to win a share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes with the thrilling Season of Champions competition. Bet 50 rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and put yourself in the running for gold. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
You may regret pulling a muscle while trying to impress that someone at the gym. But with Outsurance Essential Car Insurance, you'll have no regrets covering your older car at a much lower premium. And you get third-party cover up to 1 million rand. Get Outsurance Essential Car Insurance today for unfinanced cars older than 5 years valued at less than 130,000 rand. SMS SAVE to 45363. That's SAVE to 45363. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana is clearly frustrated with the city with how it's managing its money. Is he right to be so angry?
Quite what's behind that, I think it'd be very useful to try and understand. You know, I work in the area of water, and we've been trying to understand in the water sector why it's been so difficult for Joburg Water to do things like pay the contractors who've been building that Brixton Tower.
Professor Mike Muller is a visiting professor in the School of Governance at Wits University.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Business Banking, featuring the AgriTrends 2026 Autumn Edition. In agriculture, smart moves need smart insights. Get the latest AgriTrends report at absaagritrends.co.za. ABSA is a registered FSP.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
It's 20 minutes before 12 o'clock. We are having a conversation on our Thursday Dialogue this morning about Minister Sisisito Lashe's appearance in Parliament yesterday. And if you watched her appearance and how she explained things, I'd like to know what you thought on 011 883 0702 or your WhatsApps on 072 702 1702. I'm going to bring Lindsay Dentlinger in a moment. But first, let's bring in Bridget Masango, who is the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, joining us on the line. Thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
There are some people who feel like, as a committee, you were quite soft on the minister yesterday. What would you say is what you did as a committee that held the minister accountable?
What we did, when people are saying I'm soft, Clement, what I was trying to do is to facilitate a meeting that is adhering to all the rules of Parliament in facilitating a meeting of a committee.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did yesterday is to bring the minister in to present her side of the story on all the issues that had come up in the media space, other than, of course, the earlier issue of the former DG Nechpale and the Miss Mabilecha.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did was to also invite the PSC so that we get both interpretations of the report.
Mm-hmm.
And during that space, we also got to hear that the meeting, the report was actually not the final report. It was complete, in the words of the PSC chairperson, but it was not final because the minister still had to respond or to give her review to the report. So I believe that when the minister is brought to the committee to give her side of the story, and then for the committee to then reflect after that, because now we have all the information that we needed.
Yeah.
We know that the minister says she doesn't know anything about the food aid and the letter that was written to the food aid, splitting her salary, the arrangements that the food aid had with her daughter once she landed in East London. We know all that now from the minister. So we are able to balance that with the media reports that we've been getting.
So what I mean by accountability is what's going to happen to the minister, because even you as the chair were not convinced by some of the responses she gave. Because I would imagine holding the minister accountable as a parliament, an institution that's constitutionally obligated to hold the executive accountable, they don't just come there and give their side of the story. You've got to challenge that story that they give you. For instance, the issue of the DG, didn't the minister come to you as a committee and say to you there was a clerical error? And now she comes, and then after that she goes and she charges the DG.
Yes.
And now she comes and says, well, my signature, digital signature, was used fraudulently there. But this is the same minister who had come to you as a committee and said, no, this is just a clerical error. Was she asked why there's inconsistencies in that response?
Yes, she was. She was asked why are there inconsistencies. But also what we didn't know was that the PSC does not investigate ministers, the executive. So now we know, and we were given one of those avenues is that the case is already with the ethics committee in Parliament, but also we now have a forensic investigation. I don't know if I have said to you during the interviews that you've given me opportunities for, that we were waiting for two reports. We were waiting for the PSC report, which the preliminary report of that we got yesterday, and then there was also a forensic investigation. And as we were closing, when I did say that we are still waiting for the forensic report, the report was then emailed to the secretary because the report is now complete.
Yeah.
Now, yes.
So the issue of the clerical error, though, how did the minister respond to that? And as the chairperson, what then conclusion do you make from the inconsistencies? You believe she lied to Parliament?
Listen, the lying to Parliament, Clement, is what is before the Ethics Committee. So I actually have been warned for speaking about that by Parliament. So I want to remain to say that process is being investigated by the Ethics Committee, the Joint Ethics Committee, and it talks directly to the issue of lying to Parliament.
But she's not, do you think she's telling the truth? She's come and said it's a clerical error, and then later takes action against the DG, and then later says, oh, actually my digital signature was abused. Do you think she's telling the truth?
It doesn't matter what I think, Clement.
It matters. You're the chairperson of the Social Development Committee.
But I'm representing a multi-party committee. So it does not matter as far as my position as a chairperson.
Okay, what does the committee
think
of the inconsistencies?
Well, the committee, just when the meeting finished, the committee did not know what to say. But what we did then is to give the report, the forensic report that we received. I directed that it be sent to the chairperson of the PSC, who asked. And also the report that we got on the food aid, we asked the chairperson of the PSC to take care of it and to do an investigation, because, Clement, I want you and South Africans to know we are an oversight committee, but we do not have capacity. We depend on the institutions of the state that support democracy. We depend on the other agencies of government, such as the PSC.
Yes, and I get that. But I actually slightly disagree there. I think as a committee of Parliament, your constitutional obligation is guaranteed. So the fact that the Hawks is investigating or the Public Service Commission investigate doesn't stop you from going ahead with holding the executive accountable. The fact that there's an ethics committee that's actually investigating whether the minister lied doesn't stop you as the committee from also just making your own findings based on what the minister is telling you, which is why I'm asking, are you convinced as the committee based on what she has told you about the DG story? She claimed it was a clerical error, then she changes her story later on. Were you satisfied with that explanation? Are you convinced she's telling you were not satisfied?
I was not satisfied with the explanation.
Okay.
I was satisfied about an investigation that took place as the PSC one and the forensic one that is questioning especially the forensic one, that is saying that it is highly unlikely that the minister did not sign the letter. It is highly unlikely.
She likely lied. She likely lied.
But
okay.
Also, Clement, the forensic investigation report is saying to us that when the interviews began by the investigators, the minister to the day when they signed off the report, never availed herself to be interviewed by the investigators. Even the emails that they sent to her office, through her office officials, the minister never responded to those emails.
Okay.
So we have an investigation report that was commissioned by the minister that the minister did not cooperate with.
I mean, what does that tell you about this minister? What you've just explained now to the listeners, what does it tell you as chairperson about this minister?
It tells me that we have a minister that we need to go further, and because now we need the minister to tell us how on earth can you have an investigation because I don't do this as a person. I have to do it as a committee. And what I am telling you is that the committee, the people that did the investigation and the minister has to come before us. As she presented the PSC report, she has to present the forensic report.
You didn't want members of parliament to go into details about the issue of the vehicles. Can you explain why? Because this is not just an ANC Women's League issue. This is an issue about a social development minister who has received vehicles, and she now claims that those vehicles belong to a party when in fact the vehicles are registered in her children's names. That does not make sense at all.
But it does not.
So why can't she be asked questions about that? Because if she's lying about these cars belonging to the ANC Women's League, that means she has violated the executive members' ethics code. She's expected to declare these gifts. If she hasn't declared them, that's a problem.
She said 3 times in one meeting that did not lie.
Sorry, Bridget, can you hear us? Yeah?
Yes.
Sorry, you cut off there. She said what?
She said she did not lie to Parliament, and then said that is being handled by the ethics committee. It does not matter, Clement, what I think. I need to have something that has been dealt with by organizations or institutions that are there to do that job. To say the minister says she didn't lie, the parliamentarians are saying she lied. So this is the position, and I cannot say anything about that until I have in my hand
the food
report.
aid. You were not convinced even about the food aid. I mean, really, she's telling us that she didn't know about her daughter sharing a salary with this food aid, and also what was the food aid doing in the private residence of the minister to begin with? That's not allowed in law. She has to be at the official residences.
Yes.
So as a committee, what did you just take her explanation? Did you tell her that there's no way she's not telling the truth?
I did not. We did not take the explanation. The minister said she did not know anything about the arrangements that took place in East London. And just towards the end of the meeting, she said when the letter on the letterhead of the department was held out to her to say, here is a letter on the letterhead of your department saying that the salary will be split. That didn't happen when the lady landed in East London. It happened at contractual at a time when she was being
hired.
appointed.
So the minister didn't know that.
She said she disowned The minister said, I don't know that letter.
Yeah, of course. It's everybody's fault but her. This is quite wild. Bridget Masango, thank you so much for joining us. She's the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Social Development. After the break, I'm going to bring in Lindsay Dentlinger and Lumka Olifant.
If you're a fan of the beautiful game, you'll recognize this. And this. But what about this? It's your chance to score big time. Win your share of up to 2 million rand with Standard Bank. It's game day every day. To enter, open and use any qualifying Standard Bank account, in-app or in branch. Already a Standard Bank customer? Sign up for Standard Bank Connect online to get a bonus entry. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to Harold's Mother's Day Hotline, brought to you by Net Florist. We've got Mbali on the line.
Hi, Harold. Things are a bit tense with my mother-in-law.
Tension and mothers are my specialty.
We were arguing and she said if we were married, she would poison my coffee.
Mama Minnie, what does one say to that?
I told her if we were married, I'd drink it.
Wax my sack, we have a winner. This Mother's Day, go to Net Florist and get her a beautiful bouquet and a personalised luxury gown. Order before 6 May and get some Friedland chockies.
That should work. But what if it doesn't?
Drink the coffee. Net Florist. That's easy to show your kids.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Dialogue with Clement Manyathela.
It's not just another roundtable discussion.
Let's walk the talk on 702.
All right, 6 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's quickly bring in Lindsay Dentlinger and Lumka Olifant. I want Lumka just to give us a right of reply because she was mentioned there in Parliament yesterday as someone who's trying to stoke the fires. And the minister, clearly with the department, they think that she's the one that's somehow responsible for all the scandals, and yet they're not really responding to the scandals themselves. Lindsay Dentlinger is our EWN reporter joining us on the line. Lindsay, I just wanted you to come and explain to our listeners the behavior of ANC MPs yesterday. I mean, it was very clear that they were going to defend Tolashe no matter what.
Good morning, Clement. Yes, look, it's not something we haven't seen, but certainly haven't seen in a long time, the way in which the ANC MPs rallied around her, 4 of them. It was clearly very carefully planned that no matter what got said, and to have Professor Somodade Fikeni in the room telling them that these are my final findings. I don't see that these findings are going to change in any way. Still, for ANC MPs practically to dismiss the findings of that report, saying it wasn't something on which they could form an opinion on the conduct of the minister, blaming the social media, blaming the media itself for narratives, and just basically refusing to even believe some of the things, the controversies that have surrounded the minister. And so what became very evident from our observations is that first and foremost, for the ANC, it's about rallying, protecting, shielding your comrade rather than holding that person accountable for whatever it is that has come up that is putting that department into disrepute.
Yeah, quite shocking, honestly. Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN reporter, thank you. Lumka Olifant is the former spokesperson at the Department of Social Development on the line to us now. Lumka, thanks for also making time. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Clement, and to your 702 listeners.
The suggestion that was made yesterday by the minister was that you are the one that are stoking the fires. You've been trying to force the food aid to also somehow go after the minister. They played a voice note in Parliament yesterday. How do you respond to that? Because they seem to be putting the blame on you as well, because everybody is catching strays but the minister.
Yeah, you know, Clement, when the story of the food aid came out, a lot of South Africans were very angry. And a lot of South Africans came with different ways of trying to assist the aider. Others wanted to give money, others wanted to give food, others legal representation. And as you know, my number is in the public domain, and people have my number, and it is easy to get hold of me. So I firstly had to protect her by giving other people who wanted to assist with the day-to-day things. But I felt it was important that if there are lawyers who are coming out to say that they want to take this for her, they will be willing to do that pro bono. And Clement, we know now that it is not just one helper. There's two on top of this one. But it depends on the person who wants to take up the case. So I did approach that particular helper, because before, when my story came out, she also called me. That's how I got her number. So I told her that, you know what, there are people who are offering a lot of things, but if you want to also come in on the legal representation, there is a lawyer who is available to do this. And that is the nature of South Africans. But on her moving the blame to me, the facts are all there for everyone to see. And right now, I'm very tired of saying the same story, that she was the one who to respond to Parliament on everything that has happened to her since the day the story of the New York started. If you check the genesis of everything, it started from there. And in everything, she is the one who is either responding to Parliament, to the media. And this morning I wake up to voice notes of other people that she had not paid, that were her aiders. But I'm happy, Clement, that now the Public Service Commission is saying they are going to look into this matter.
Yeah, true. Dumka, I'm out of time, but thank you so much. I thought we should bring you so that we also hear from you, given what the minister said yesterday. I appreciate your time.
No one gets fit overnight. It takes discipline, and your money is no different. A Nedbank 32-day notice account helps you build financial strength with up to 7.3% interest and zero maintenance fees. The higher the deposit, the higher the return. Invest in under 2 minutes on the Money app and get money fit with Nedbank. For more information, go to nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank, we're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Are you ready for the magical Marble Family Fest? It's a luxury playground designed to excite and delight all ages. Food, fun, and rhythm all collide to bring you unforgettable moments for you, your friends, and your family. See what the creators of the Luxury Marble Circus have in store for you this Mother's Day weekend on the 9th and 10th of May at James and Ethel Gray Park. Get your tickets at magicalmarblefamilyfest.com. This is another grand collaboration with Investec in partnership with 947. All right, that's where we wrap up the show today. Thank you so much for listening to the Thursday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We're back with you again tomorrow between 9 and 12. We may be coming from the Constitutional Court. Are we? All right. I'm told we're going to be coming to you live tomorrow from the Constitutional Court. It's a big day. The Phala Phala judgment is being delivered after so long. What is it going to find? And what are the consequences going to be? We'll bring you all the latest coming from the court tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon. I'm Bali Dlamini. Leader of the National Coloured Congress and Member of Parliament Fadil Adams has been officially charged with 2 counts of obstructing the course of justice as well as 3 counts of fraud. The charges are linked to his alleged interference in the investigation into the murder of ANC councillor